Yo, 4th and 13, we're back. We're getting started. We have a guest speaker on the way, and he's coming with heavy hitting uh, punchlines for the black community that's going to help change the landscape for you ladies. So hang in there tight. He's coming. Um, but before we get into all that, there's this show that's been going around. Now, excuse me, I'm being a bad host right now. We have Mo motherfucking Glow in the fucking building with a Yankee fucking fitted with the great shirt. Very,
Green.
very cool.
It's green. It's green. But I respect
It's
it.
green. Excuse me, I
Yeah.
can't see colorblind, but it looks great. But you agree? You can agree. It looks great, right? Yeah.
It looks blue.
Oh, oh,
Yo. Whoa.
it's not blue.
Yo, it's
That's
green.
not blue.
This is yo. I'm about to really destroy this computer. This is the moment. Yo. So the devil is a lie.
That's
Yo,
not blue.
Ria, if I send you a picture of this,
No, Justin, hold on. It does not look blue to you.
That
it
looks blue.
does. It
I'm
does.
not.
But I'm gonna send y'all a picture. I'm not playing.
See, this is why I say, see me in person. I look better because the internet's a
Yeah.
lie. The internet's a lie.
But Justin the Twitter, honey. All the hoes love Justin.
Listen, my homegirl keeps saying that, and I'm like trying to tell her that I'm not. I don't
You are a Twitter
experience
honey.
those things. I feel like I don't get those things.
I just
You're a
sent it
Twitter
to you,
honey.
Ria.
You are a Twitter honey, and it's okay. Living your truth, King. Living your truth.
Yeah. Oh, we got Ria.
Niggas will
Okay.
introduce me. Niggas will get
I
the
was
fuck out of
gonna,
me.
but we got stuck on this guy's hat. It's like a some placebo effect or whatever the fuck that shit's called. What's this shit called?
Mandela effect.
Yeah, Mandela effect.
Mandela effect.
It's one of those right
RP RP Mandela.
now. Okay, and then we have, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have the Twitter honey, the Clubhouse honey, the woman that does it in real life and online. All the men want to do things
Thanks.
that are empty their pockets.
Fuck it. Yeah.
It's fucking sangria, motherfuckers.
Uh-huh. More fire.
The Haitian queen, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I want to say on the record that all that shit that Justin said was a lie.
And she's
but
sipping on some fancy wine right now.
This is actually champagne.
Oh.
Fellas, if you want to know how this young lady is, I'm guessing this. I think she's like 5'6", brown skin, locks, went to Howard, has over 400 pairs of sneakers and hats. Whatever you like. She likes football, basketball, maybe a little baseball. She watches European soccer, also known as football. Yeah, she does it all.
Premier Cup.
She has pink brims, gray brims, and all the things that you imagine and aspire to be. She is here. She is the one and only, the single, the bachelorette.
Yeah, just
I like say I'm 5'8", but okay.
That's even better, fellas.
You can get you a little all-star player with me.
So, have you? So apparently, I was on Twitter recently. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't sleep. And this clip was going around about from what's this show? Sons of Harlem, or some shit.
I haven't watched it.
It's called Harlem, right?
But but nobody in Harlem's from the show.
Yeah, they got Arnez. They got not Arnez. They got Arnez in there, right?
They got Arnez. They got Making Good. It's like an Amazon Prime show. Okay, but what were you talking about, Justin?
I have to find this clip so you guys can hear it.
Is it the clip I think it is?
Please tell me it's not the butterfly doors.
When man shits
No, it's not the butterfly doors. We're not getting into that yet. I'm talking about the barbershop clip. I have to find that.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Okay, no, I've only seen the clip where it was just Mans was in that hole like
yo. Nigga had his that meme of Freaky Ziki having his leg up like that.
And he grabbed it too. I was like, oh, now you got extra support on them hoes. Jesus. Woo.
Hold on. Yeah, y'all can hear me?
Yeah, I can. We can hear you perfectly.
Y'all can hear me?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Yes, we can hear
internet.
you. We can hear you. Yeah.
I'm trying to play this clip, but it's like he could connect it to my fucking Bluetooth. But anyway, I'm just gonna explain the fucking clip instead of y'all hearing it. So in the clip, Shorty goes, she's in the barbershop and she's getting a haircut. A woman was getting a haircut. So the nigga proceeds to say, "Oh, I was with this slut. They would do anything to fuck. They'll fuck for like a 5-piece nugget." So then after that, Shorty goes, "Check your boy." And then he goes, "I can't check my boy because he's like," no, first he goes, "Yo, chill out with that. We have a lady here." And then the barber across that was saying all that wild shit said, "If she didn't look so much like a dude, then I wouldn't say that." Okay, whatever, right? Then he goes on to say, "Yeah, so I was titty fucking the bitch. And then after that, I realized one titty is smaller than the other titty." And Shorty got mad and said, "Fuck this, I'm out." There's more to it. But what I'm trying to explain it to you is like, that is the biggest sack of horse shit that I ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Because men do not do that in the barbershop while women are present, right? And even if they are present and a woman manages to hear that, the owner or somebody around that realized that a woman's in there, they'd be like, "Yo, chill, you're wilding. A woman's in here." Nobody ever in the barbershop is going to let a man disrespect a woman in the barbershop. I don't care how much toxic masculinity you think is in that barbershop. No man is allowing that to happen. Like, no, especially that's a customer. So that is not happening. So that's what bothered me about the clip.
I mean, I used to have an undercut. So I used to go to the barbershop all the time. And I would say that, like, I knew that when I walked in, there was a very drastic change of conversation. Like, I could tell that niggas were very much so censoring themselves. So that's a wild, like, I've never been in a situation where I felt wildly uncomfortable in a barbershop. But have niggas tried to be like, I feel like I could tell that people are like holding back shit they want to say, but like never on some shit where like they go that far. But was the point of that clip showing that like, was she super masculine presenting or she looked like a nigga?
No,
Like,
the whole
would you be
point
able to
is,
like look at her and be like, "That's a girl," or would you be like,
yeah, of course.
"That's a
But I
bit,"
think
or is that a nigga with a boosie fade?
nah, you would see it and be like, "That's a woman." But I think they were
Oh.
trying to point out that how toxic the men barbershops are and the masculinity and what they do in the barbershops and how they treat people, which I think is bullshit. And basically, they said that this is a story presented by somebody that was in the LGBTQ community that they experienced. So, but a lot of people were just mad at it. I was laughing at it, but a lot of black men was mad because they said they were trying to assassinate our character, yada yada yada. You can listen to it now. I got you. If the shit will play. The shit won't play.
But honest
Go ahead.
question, do y'all say that type of shit in a barbershop though?
But I don't say that type of shit.
Okay, I'm not talking about y'all particularly, but like, do those conversations happen in a barbershop? I don't care for the specifics, but like, do you think it was super far
men be saying
fetched?
all types of wild shit in the barbershop? Hell
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
why were men mad at the clip then? If that's something that
It wasn't
happens?
about what he was saying. It was about her being in there and then him disrespecting her.
So y'all talk that shit when there's no woman there, but the fact that there was a woman there made it like that would never actually happen in real life.
Yeah, because
you gotta have some respect.
She felt some type of way. She addressed it, and then the barber that she was telling him to like, "Yo, check your boy." He checked him, and then the guy was like, "Nah, I'm not fucking with that because she looks like a dude." And like nobody ever says that in the barbershop, which is like weird. And then it went on to more disrespectful out loud shit because like men are just not gonna do that in the barbershop. Like I seen it multiple times with niggas like, "Yo, there's women in here, there's like," you know what I'm saying? Because most of the time they're bringing their children, so it's just like even if it's not that way, she's just getting a haircut. You're not gonna sit there and disrespect that woman to her face. So it made it seem like, you know how you talk about stereotypes.
Niggas have no principles and like no like
rules. It just looked insane. Like I'm like, I get it. Like I get it's probably experience, but that's not all black men. Like that shit is just weird.
But I do feel like, not to be devil's advocate, But I do feel like there are probably women who are very masculine presenting that don't necessarily look like women on first look that probably have experienced some shit like that. Like I've seen masculine presenting women who are very much so like I would have thought that they grew with the penis their whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that maybe the writers are coming from that experience, maybe of like someone looking very masculine to a point that they didn't know, or they questioned it, and instead of like rectifying it, they just were like, "That's a nigga," or like a prepubescent nigga, but a nigga nonetheless. And yeah, but I do like just because I have a brother and my parents used to drop us both at the barbershop because my brother was responsible for me. I've been at the barbershop hella and I've heard like the type of shit just because I was around them niggas all the time and they didn't really care about me no more. So I kind of get what you're saying and I get why it like looks bad because like men wouldn't do that, but maybe it's like an LGBTQIA experience versus like a regular experience.
I just don't understand that. Like, cause I mean, I've been in barbershop mad times. It's like when women are around niggas, like the niggas have a matter of respect. Like it's a lady in here. Like, and I've seen women that quote unquote look like dudes in a barbershop and they still haven't spoke that way. Maybe just my barbershop, but like I guess they're trying to project like this is how every barbershop is, which is I see why niggas would be mad.
Let's see if I can. Hey.
Skeet in her face and anything like rah, rah, rah. Look, I'm telling you, these hoes busted wide open for a 6-piece nugget. No fries.
Yo, you gonna
What
have
hoes he around?
You know the rules.
Yo, Aunt, chill. We got a lady present.
Maybe the lady shouldn't try so hard to look like a dude. Barbershop's a safe space.
You're not using the term safe space correctly, dumbass.
Yeah, well, she just laying there all nutted on and shit.
Yo, CJ, please get your boy.
Todd, what can I do? Aunt's family.
I've been coming here for years.
We've been, but me and Aunt are family. He's my mom's sister's son's nephews. Your cousin's son.
So anyway, I'm about to titty fuck the hoe, right? And then suddenly I realized Shorty got one titty bigger than the other.
Fuck this.
Nah.
It's a wild conversation.
Bro, but I'm saying like that does not happen.
Also, ain't that like wildly immature too? Like, nigga, why are you kissing and telling? It's not like unattractive.
But that listen, man, I heard some wild shit in the barbershop.
Yeah.
Be kissing and telling like children.
Yeah, put it like this.
Same thing.
Yeah. It's a safe space.
I don't talk about dick that I experience ever because I've always been taught that if I talk to another woman about the dick that I have, that she's going to try it out, and I would never.
Yeah, I heard you half name drop before on Clubhouse, so don't.
Half name and actually name dropping are very fucking different.
That man wasn't name dropping; he was just experiencing.
First of all, that person didn't even count because that person. And I never did anything, so it didn't count. But nonetheless, I don't talk about
I'm not saying that man is right in that situation. I'm just saying that men have those type of conversations in the barbershop because
I'll be kissing and telling like bitches.
No, we're just
Mo. See, we're not gonna go down like Kevin Samuels. We're gonna let that brother to go down for us. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna take it. He's gonna take those little battles for us.
Samuels.
But for me, I'm just gonna let Rhea rock. Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Weighing in from Woodfall. Weighing in from South Bend. Oh shit! The black men are taking over.
Whiskey. Shout out to the North Whiskey. Go cop that.
We got a former black quarterback from Notre Dame. Shout out Notre Dame for having a black head coach now.
Hey, guess where he from?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio, baby. You
okay. And he has a great ass fucking face for him being in fucking Indiana.
Yeah, where did you get your hair? When you was in South Bend, where did you get your haircuts?
I went to my guy named Toast the Barber. He had the best haircuts. Straight in the hood, man. We was right on the west side. I had to go a little bit away from campus to get right. But shout out Toast, man. That's my guy.
As always, you know what I'm saying? When you go to a PWI, yeah, I gotta find the nearest hood that's possible for you to get your hair cut.
How far was it? How far was it, Malik, from like campus and shit? Like, you
You know,
remember?
it was a good 20-minute drive. You had to go to where the grass wasn't cut a little bit, but you know.
Whoa.
I can't relate. I went to a historically black college. I cannot relate.
No, straight up. You know, you got to understand South Bend as a city. You know, I mean, it's a hard Midwest working
I love
city.
that for you.
Straight up. But you know, Notre Dame is a PWI, where it's kind of elitist. So you know, they got green grass all year round and it's snow 9 months out of the year.
How it felt being there, because you know a lot of like historical black players played there, right? Then like Tim Brown played there, right?
I mean, you know, you get the good players. I think it's just cool to see, you know, how rich people really living for a little bit. Some of the moves they make, you know, you can take a lot of notes on things, and it's a different dynamic, man. You know what to take and what not to use, and you know, different strategies to bring back to the village, man. I almost feel like you Robin Hood. You know, you're learning some stuff you know you can't find on Google. And the networking, you know, networking is pretty important, as I've learned outside of school. That shit's you gotta have that. So if you can know how to talk to some white folks and also operate with your people, I think it's the best of both worlds for what you want to do. You know, if you're trying to make a lot of money in certain things, it's a good way to go.
Listen, now you know Malik hit me. You know, we had a lot of legendary episodes. You know, the last episode on YouTube got taken down.
Because of you.
They had a lot. There's something that I want to ask you, but I cannot ask you because I'm not gonna let them take my shit down again because I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
But the man with the plan, Malik, you know, you are, you know, the people's favorite. You know, a lot of people like when you come on the podcast because, you know, you have a difference of opinions. You know what I'm saying? You turn this up a little bit. But, you know, you hit me in the text messages and you said to me something that I heard before. And, but you were very adamant about that. You know what I'm saying? I was a little confused. But, you know, before we did this, I said I had to bring a woman on here to speak her piece and hear your perspective, because 3 men talking about this isn't the right way to do it justice. So we have this young lady named Rhea, you know, the black queen in the building, brother. So Malik, Rhea, Malik, you know what I'm saying? She knows about you. She watches sports, so she's in tune with it. So Malik, I'm giving you the platform for you to speak your piece. Go ahead, brother.
Floor is yours.
I truly believe polygamy can save the black community. I believe that because if we're looking at just single family households, if we're looking at statistics of the black community right now, I think the best way to move forward is away from a monogamous style of structure. If we're looking for a unity standpoint, a community, as in coming together, I do think it'll be great. Where everybody go?
I was about to say, why they just leave while we're talking?
I had to turn it off.
I had to get a bev real quick. I had to go get a bev real quick.
Yeah, get a bev. I do think it's important for us to see the strategic alliance that can happen behind it. I do think the way we're faced right now with single family households and just the problems that come behind that, I think is something from an action standpoint we can use that can correlate in benefits outside of just being what's perceived as a moral concept of you just not being down for that. I think at this point, it's easier to look at a progressive way of doing it. I don't even call it progressive. I feel like we were based off of a polygamous relationship from our ancestors. A monogamous thing was really generated from a Christian ideology that's not even something that I would consider we wrote ourselves. But I do think, with 8 billion people on the planet, it didn't come from monogamy. But I also believe if you look at all the great ancient families and what came from that, I think, it may not have been structured as polygamy, but every man wants to have a family tree at some point. I think for the black family to get stronger in this 2021 and moving forward, polygamy is a great tool I think we can use to strengthen our family situations, which can strengthen our communities.
right,
in a better position.
All right, I didn't want to cut you off, but I have a couple of questions for you. So when you say polygamy, I just want to make sure that you mean that the man has multiple partners, or the woman and the man both have multiple partners.
Well, I think it would be based off of our history. I think it should be structured from a matriarchal point of view, to where the man does have multiple wives, but it's because of the honor of the woman. I mean, back in
I mean, I get the historical. So just to give you context on me, so I have a degree in English and African American Studies and education. So I understand where you're saying in terms of historical aspect of quote unquote polygamy. In 2021, my main question for you is, do you think, I'm not going to say you as the person, but the general Black man, right? Like, I don't want you to feel like I'm attacking just you. Think that you could provide for several families at one time?
Yeah, so I think it definitely depends on the man. Not every man can take on that type of role in the community. I do think there's men in our community that can take on that role.
Do you know how expensive children
are? Me personally, I do believe that I can do it. Obviously, you have to have a plan in polygamy. I think that's what's not talked about. Communication and a plan obviously has to go in place for it to even work. Now, if you are just saying, yeah, can a man just provide for the multiple different things that he's engaged in? I think it's based on what a man can do. But a lot of it, too, when we talk about economic benefits, is that it's about teamwork. At the end of the day, obviously a man wants to provide for his family as he should. But in 2021, if you think about percentages, 8% of people in this country are less than 100,000 heirs. So if you cut that in half, considering just the Black men alone, we're not out here as a community, especially a Black male community, making enough to live the standard of what people are saying is the standard in today's age. I do think group economics benefits.
So you're saying, so you're essentially promoting polygamy because of the fact that you'll have one lump sum of a salary, because one man can't quite possibly provide for several women. Like, you're saying this in the sense of, you think that, like, if I have a salary of previous salary between, I'm about to say my salary on a podcast, $75K and $100K, right? Let's say that was the bracket that my salary is currently in, and I then marry a man who makes, let's say, the same bracket, but then he also marries 3 other women who make the same level, maybe somebody who's in the 45K area and maybe someone who's in the 60K area. You are saying that you think that polygamy works because as a collective of all of our salaries, we can make a better house for a child or for children, because I'm going to have a certain amount of kids. Wife number 2 is going to have a certain amount of kids, and wife number 3 is going to have a certain amount of kids. Correct? Is that your basis behind this? Because, like, I think that, yes, there's an economic point that you could probably argue that, like, yeah, you have hella money to provide for however many series of kids, but then also lifestyle. Being a parent is obviously way more than just providing for that child. If you have 3 wives per se, and all of us have 2 to 3 kids each, are you really going to have enough time in the day to not only provide what you need as a husband for your wife, for 3 wives, but then also for possibly 6 kids?
So, yeah, I mean, the economic factor is just an example of many different things. I'm looking at it from the perspective of polygamy. I do think that when we talk about what a man is able to do, obviously, if you're working at McDonald's, having 4 wives, it's pretty tough if you're depending on, and that's your plan, to be the sole provider for all 4 of you guys in this situation.
Most women believe that their man is going to be a provider of some sort. So I'm not talking about a man at McDonald's. Not to say that men at McDonald's cannot have children, but we're also talking about someone who's able to provide for several kids. So for you to be able to provide for several kids, you need to make up most of, I would like to say, $400K, which I don't think most average Joe person are making. Because not only, in no world are 3 wives living in the same house So you would have to provide something for everyone's crib.
So
And all these
So-
different things.
so wait, let me butt in here because I feel like you're about to go back and forth for a while. All right, so from Rhea's perspective, if you make a certain amount of money, are you okay with men being polygamous if they make a certain amount of money, Rhea?
For me personally, no. However, do I understand it more? Yes. But I still don't think that because you make a certain amount of money allows you to be a present father for several kids.
Okay, cool.
In
Malik.
several people in marriages.
Okay, Malik, do you think that your logic only pertains to people who make six figures?
No, not at all. I think that that's the way the conversation was steered. That's not my basis. Is that if you make $1 million, you're open to polygamy. Like I said in the beginning, not every man is has the ability to do that. I do think there's men within our community that have the ability to do that more so than other men of their culture and community, due to the fact that there's a lot of things that a man can provide outside of outside of a financial support that women also are reactive to. That's in a positive way. I think if you look at a lot of single mothers, there is I don't think any single mother is out there wanting to be alone. I think that mental anguish of being alone, in a sense of not having a partner, not saying that they can't be alone, but in being alone, I think it holds a lot of mental burdens on the structure that they have themselves, not only personally, but if they have kids, it can affect them. I mean, we hear all the stories of different things that of a single parent household pertains. With a polygamous relationship, having a father figure within the household does affect the kids in a positive way if the relationship is based in a positive manner. I think
So let me ask you a question. Are you in a relationship now?
Yes.
All right. So you obviously you have a kid now. Congratulations on that.
Congratulations.
You have a
That's,
healthy
no, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like that's a blessing in any scenario. Just having a healthy child is a blessing.
So do you want to be polygamous?
Yeah, I think with the right structure, I believe that I have the ability to do it. I think with the right plan in place and the people with the right mindset, you can definitely do it. I think a lot of times.
So does your shorty know this?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time.
What's her response to it?
But that goes back into the communication piece of it. I think a lot about why people don't engage in the conversation is that there's a certain level of stigmatism behind it, where it goes straight to, oh, you're fucking a bunch of people. Oh, you're selfishly doing things to only think about yourself. And as a woman, I can never think outside that spectrum. But when you're looking at just the condition of what a lot of us are in, polygamy could come in handy for supporting stronger family structures to build a community. Because if you look around, there's not too many communities that are filled with just us. There's less and less communities.
Okay, so the thing is, I want to argue with you, right? Like, I don't think polygamy, because I have friends who are polygamous, I have friends who are married and polygamous and in great relationships. I think my only argument or ailment to what you have to say is that you think that polygamous relationships will help strengthen the Black family. Like, I think that's a wild equation to even put together, mainly because having a father doesn't mean that person's an active father. Having a father doesn't mean that father is good in your life. Like, just the idea of having a man in a household doesn't make things perfect, right? Like, there's tons of people who grew up with an absentee father who still was in their life every day, but not present. So, and then also, like, the reason I'm bringing up financials is because I've worked in education, right? Like, I know how much education costs long term. I know how much a child costs long term. That's not some shit that most men could sit there and be like, all right, cool, I have a kid with you, I have a kid with him, I have a kid. Like, that doesn't work that way on a financial standpoint. But then also an emotionally intelligent standpoint, like, can you even emotionally support multiple women in a marriage? Can you support and provide and be what several children need as a father. Like there's several layers to that I feel like you're missing in saying that it supports the Black family. I understand the large spectrum of like wanting a community. I think community raising children is a very big thing. I'm still very present in some of my former student lives. I still very much so go to their recitals, their games. Like I'm a big supporter of a community, but a community doesn't have to be a polygamous father. Because if we really want to be honest, before the internet, niggas was polygamous. You could have gone 3 towns over and had a whole other family.
Well, that's not polygamous. But
that's making it. Go ahead.
That's just being West Indian.
Nah, I'm talking about niggas like, I mean, like,
but it does.
I mean, shout out to Serena's, shout out to King Richard, but like, I will say it was a great film, but the part that it doesn't talk about is he left his whole fucking family with like 6 kids to then go with Serena and Venus's mother, and then have obviously them too, but then she had her own set of kids, and then I believe he also went on to another family.
But we gotta live in a
get it how you live, man. That man saw that check.
Wait, Malik. I'm gonna let you finish. I just want to hear this part from you. What does your girl say about being polygamous when you guys have this conversation? That's the part I really want to know.
It's definitely an open conversation. Obviously, for somebody that hasn't been brought to in a way, in a constructive way, or a way where it can be presented that it can actually work. Obviously, anybody hearing a new way of doing things has their questions. This is something that, is a process that it's not a very conditioned thing for people to even be learning, because I think there's a part of realism that polygamy needs to have, which is what is not working now. And I think, the things that aren't working now that's contributing to what we are losing more of, which is the family structure in the Black community. I think we have to reevaluate those things instead of it just being such a moral.
But what does she say to that? Does she agree with it, or does she be like, "Yo, you're crazy," or like she's
no?
Just
it's not a you're crazy situation at all. It's definitely an open conversation. Is she all 100% on board for it? No, but there's things that we definitely have communicated on that's open to, and we can move towards it, providing things go the right way. You have to have a plan for all of this. Anybody that's just waking up saying I want to do it, obviously, I don't know everybody's intentions, but if you do anything like that of a team situation, it has to have some type of structure, just like a regular relationship.
So can she fuck up the niggas though?
So there's no pushback. Like, how many times you guys have this conversation?
Obviously, there's pushback in the conversation. I mean, you acting like it's just super smooth. I don't think anything is super smooth to somebody that's never.
I think that's what was just in question, because the way you said it, just felt like you said it's an open conversation. So the way you projected us, like
if you learn about something new, or if you're expressing to your partner about something that they haven't been brought up on, or taught in a constructive way. Obviously, there's questions that's going to arise, especially if it goes against what you're based your whole grow up on, or things like that.
But I'm saying the initial reaction to that, what was her initial reaction to you saying that I want to be polygamous and have multiple women in our household and be one of multiple what?
I didn't say
that's
he got you there.
I was thinking more on the idea, obviously this is more of when I said saving the Black community, yeah, that's a theoretical debate topic that I believe is a tool we could use to save the Black community. I personally don't think a Jesus is saving the Black community. I personally don't think the monogamous structure of what we've seen today is particularly helping the Black community. So in terms of just ideas and tools that we can use to strengthen that, I think polygamy is one of them.
I don't, but that's the thing where you
go ahead.
Go ahead, Malik. Go ahead.
All right. My only question is why polygamy, not polyamory? Why can't I get my nut off too?
Because once again, this is what we're talking about. It's not for me. Now, when we're talking about the question, it's not about necessarily getting the nut because you probably get your nut anyway. You know, if
What?
anything,
No. What I said no, but what I'm saying is right. Like I can have multiple baby daddies, right? That's multiple incomes from multiple niggas, and we could be a large fucking tribune of niggas and bitches and babies.
But yeah, like if you could, I feel like personally, from a personal opinion, I don't think that's if that was true and that's a thing that can happen. I don't personally think that any nigga would agree to something like that, because if it was true and that's a possible thing, then niggas would do it today. On a
So
scale
you can't. So you hold on. So
wouldn't have
you
to-
can't take what you're trying to do to me. Like you can't possibly have me
It's not
fuck
about-
hella
it's not about
niggas
me taking-
while
it's
we're
not about
married,
me
but you can
taking
fuck
it.
hella bitches. That don't even make no fucking
alright.
sense.
That's not what. That's
So
not
wait.
even
So
what-
wait.
that's
So
not
to
even
be
how you
fair,
would structure it.
you
Because
guys are
that's
talking
not
about.
what we think about it. Though women think about, oh,
The
you could
math
just
not
run
mad at
around
King.
and do all of
Whoa,
this,
whoa.
and that's not
Well,
how it works.
Stop
wait,
right
wait,
there.
wait. To Malik's point, that's not fair because that's not what Malik was talking
That's
about.
not what we was talking about. But that's
No,
what
I
women
was just
are
asking.
turning
I'm not
into.
saying
And that's the
that, but
problem
you're
why
just
we
saying
can
you're
never talk
talking about
it. That's
something
what
else.
they turning into.
My
every time.
point.
Now
to
she just
Malik-
gave an example. I
No,
think she
I'm not
gave
saying
a-
that she's wrong, but I'm just saying those are two different things. Like if we're talking
Two
about
different
being-
things. We talking
Yeah.
about building a whole thing. You
a
talking
dynasty.
Why can
having
I can't bring a
different baby
I
daddies
can't
to
bring
get
a
your nut
family
off,
with
and
multiple
we can
niggas?
all. Okay,
We
do
can't
you
do that
think
with
that's
multiple
a
niggas.
structure? Do you think that's a structure that can work in the
Yeah.
long term?
Like
Do you
I think
really
for
believe that?
sure.
You just
I
saying
think
it to
for
be-
sure that no. I personally don't want none of this shit. I want one nigga for the rest of my life, personally and
Niggas ain't
honestly.
gonna
But
do that.
let's talk. That's very
Multiple
funny.
niggas
Me and
ain't
my uterus say something different. But what I will say is right. If I were to say like, hey, I want two husbands, two men that I very much so love deeply. They had their own bitches on their side, and we're truly in a polyamorous relationship. Like truly, because polygamy is just a nigga or a person having multiple partners. Polyamory means that I have multiple partners and you have multiple partners. There's an understanding and a thing that like, hey, I could be your partner for whatever this is, or we could have this understanding. And that's more fucking income for the Black community because truly and honestly, I could have two niggas. The niggas could have a certain amount of bitches. We could literally make a little Black Wall Street with each other, like truly and honestly.
So why I don't agree with that is mainly because when you're building a family structure as a man, like personally as a man, you know, I want to build a personal family tree with my last name extended, this, that, and the other. As a man in general, too, a man wants, in my opinion, I can't really speak for Justin or our guy here, but as a man that wants an extended family and a large family, obviously the plan for polygamy is to have that structured under your last name to build an empire. Is for what I would consider. Now, if you want to have multiple niggas, and I think that's more confusion on the lead of what direction y'all want to head in. I don't think you can really.
That's not community though.
I don't think you can have a true plan for a family structure under having multiple niggas and one girl. I think that's harder to plan as a family structure for the future, as opposed to a man carrying a lineage, you know, and having an empire structured a certain way where the pieces play a part of what he wants to put in the future.
So I'm not saying that your polygamy can't work. I feel like it can work for you, especially you're somebody that seems like he's financially stable and he has multiple sources of income. That can work for you. But saying that's necessarily going to save the Black community, I don't know if that I agree with that, because at the end of the day, it's a commitment, right? So like, just if you were monogamous, that is commitment. For you to be polygamous, that is commitment. So all these things are commitment. So people have to buy into these things fully,
You gotta buy
regardless of
into
what.
it, yeah.
But people like different things. Everybody is different. So like you said, you can't speak for me. I can't speak for you. So that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to save the Black community. Or what Rhea is saying, that there's necessarily just because you have a father doesn't mean it's going to necessarily have a strong household or save you or anything, because you can be non-existent, whether even if you are financially stable and you can provide that, you know.
But
like
yeah,
you said,
but it goes back to planning in the relationship. You're not planning to be in a relationship to not in some way involve yourself with the kids that you're involved with. I don't think you would. If you look at it from a perspective of, I want to go into this, but I'm not really in it for the kids. I'm in it for this, that, and the third. I don't think that's the right way to address the situation. If you want to have what I mean by having a father figure within the household is that if you have a positive relationship, like for instance, kids that go into relationships with single mothers that have kids already, that's a relationship that you establish in the house with that individual kid, so does it just named different. It's called, you're just taking care of your woman's step kid, those are called stepchildren. But in a polygamous relationship, one, they're probably your children just by different women, but having that father figure in the household is important to any child's development. I'm not going to sit there and talk about the percentage of guys that are there but not there. I think there's a stronger percentage of what healthy relationships of both the man and the woman have on the child. So yeah, you could obviously pick up, that's just the same as saying abortions. Yeah, but what about rape victims? Yeah, that's 1% of abortions. So yeah, you could pick apart the argument and say, well, what about the fathers that are not father figures, but they're doing it? Yeah, but there's a bunch of what ifs. But I'm talking about if you're probably structuring a plan to build a family lineage and a family tree, polygamy could be a way. One, I say to save the Black community is because it keeps getting to the point of we're not addressing why monogamy is not working for the Black community. We're not addressing the issues that are breaking up the families and solutions that could bring it together. Now, am I saying that's the only solution to bring the Black community back to community and family? No, there's obviously social factors that play a part, but
what you're saying is a couple of things. Which this is my argument to that. This is what I can bet, right? What you're saying is you're trying to say like, first of all, we gotta look at it as a whole, right? You're looking at it as like men, they do not want to be monogamous, right? Sometimes, most of the times, they want to deal with other women down the line. They want to mess with because that's normal. That's just always how things have been. You know what I'm saying? Some people have been monogamous, but majority of men, they step out, they go find other women, yada yada yada, right?
Why have the complications, and why is there so much friction in those type of situations when I feel like both parties know on one side and the other that it happens, and it still happens to this day? I mean, there's TV shows about it happening. You watch, Housewives or any reality TV show.
But my thing is, there's women that would like to have, like, say if you had 2 women or 3 women, there are women that would be down for that, but not every woman wants to be down for that. So it can't possibly save the Black community because not everybody's to that. And for me, I don't want multiple wives. I don't.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
So it's just like I don't want to take care of multiple. I don't want to have children with multiple women and to have multiple kids on top of that. You feel me? Like I'd rather have, for me, 1 is fine. Shit, if I could have 2 and I can, I figure I can do that for the rest of my life.
If I could go,
Justin, I will beat your ass.
If I could go out like Dr. Umar,
I'll beat your ass.
I still love you though.
Not every woman wants kids, and you don't have to have kids with your situation with every woman that's in your situation. If you wanted to have kids with one of the women, and one other woman that you're involved with,
then how does that save the Black community?
Well, we're talking about saving the Black community. We're talking about building structures together. We don't have foundations.
But why? Okay, so a structure is simply anything that you would choose to build. So why is it that you're choosing that the structure that you think works the most is because you assume that cheating happens so frivolously in relationships that we should just now have polygamous relationships.
Now, I didn't say cheating is rampant. I'm saying why does it have to be the destructive things that we hear from it every day? We hear stories.
Then again, I'm going to acknowledge that maybe I am coming from a place of privilege. That I grew up with both of my parents, so maybe that is a place of privilege where I just don't assume that like polygamy has to be a way to have 2 parents. Because even when my parents got divorced when I was older, still able to be 2 very present and communicative parents in my life, right? Like my parents were able to be grown up enough to be like, hey, which I, as an adult, had to look back and say like, my parents should have got divorced way earlier, right? Like it probably would have put me less years of fucking therapy because they try to keep it together for the sake of me. But honestly, they're so much better divorced that I have such a strong relationship with both my parents now that they're divorced because they were able to learn themselves and not just stay together because of me, right? So
that's
that's why
how-
for me, that's
but
when
it
you
goes-
say this thing about like the black family and the
Wait a
black
minute,
community. and
Wait a
just-
minute. Hold on. Wait,
Shout
you
Black Love.
wait. So you're saying?
I'm saying
The key to what I'm just saying, like, let me,
Your
I'll say,
parents
because I,
divorced. Go ahead.
my thing, Malik, is like this, bro. The problem isn't whether we have to, depending on what type of relationships or sexual orientation or whatever the fuck you want to call it, you want. It's about the father and the mother being present in the child's life. That's the way to save the black community, is for black men and black women to step up to the plate to take care of their children.
Okay, my question.
And most of the time,
answer that question. How? Because we all know.
Wait.
Most of the time, but how do you get these situations and these statistics different? It's obvious that if we just started doing better, it would help strengthen our relationships with each other on that level.
So you think financial burden is the only reason why people get divorced or people don't stay together?
I never said that. I don't think
you're saying that you want to strengthen.
I'm asking about what Justin Bobby's talking about. He says that obviously that may not be the way to go, polygamy, but men and women just have to do better, and we have to this and that. But when we're talking about solutions, if I'm saying the monogamous solution that clearly is proven right for you, that your family even divorced, your parents even divorced, my parents divorced. I'm just saying from that perspective on what people say work and what people say what to do, that's not working. This whole, men just got to step up and we can strengthen, but that's not happening. So when we talk about how to do it, what is a tool?
I think. Go ahead.
So let me tell you why I disagree with that, because I think there was a point in time, the running joke of a stereotype is like black men don't have fathers, right? And I never understood that, especially living where I live, because a lot of black men have fathers, and even if they're not in the same household, they have fathers. They're around. So with that, in the 80s with the crack epidemic and whatever that case may be, a lot of black fathers went to jail because of the laws that were passed, and that they lost a lot of fathers in those households.
War and drugs.
All on drugs. So the father was not present. Now, a lot of the people, even like rappers or certain people that made it, like black people, they do not want to be their fathers or the people that were absent in their life. So black men are doing more to step up to be present in their kids' life. So it's a learning period. So it's like we prove we're involved, because I don't like when people say like it's going to take time because you're trying to rewrite 400 years or something plus segregation. So all this shit that we're learning, it's going to take time through a course of a period. So like, we weren't.
Do you think it's gotten better? Or do you think it's gotten worse? That's my question.
It's gotten better.
I think, in my opinion, Malik, I think it's gotten way better, because I think that a lot more people are getting therapy for the shit that they experienced as children, and like trying to be better and more active parents.
I'm saying the relationships between black men and black women, and being a unit and being married. Do you think that's trending upwards or is it trending down?
I want to say it's trending upward. Like within my social circle, most of my friends are at this point of their life where they're married or engaged. Like, and a lot of, like, even statistically, like, we're getting married. Like,
that's not true though. That's what I'm pointing
to. But all right. So look, so I have 2 friends that are married now, right?
And I got like 4.
Yeah, and I got 2 that got married early.
I have 8.
But necessarily, black people don't have to get married for a measure of success. I think the thing for us for it to be successful is the access and opportunity to education. That's the thing that's going to propel us.
Do you believe that the family structure, being in a family structure, leads you to success coming from a kid? Do you believe that having a family will give you a better chance at success in life than not having a family? Or
having a healthy family dynamic is what propels you. So, like, if the father and the mother are not together, as long as they're in their life and they're raising you,
and they're doing a job like to the best of their potential too.
Now, do you think that's trending upwards, or do you think it's trending downwards? I don't believe it's trending upwards.
All right, Malik, I can only base it on what I see. I believe like it is trending upwards, because when I was younger, a lot of my friends, I used to go to their house, and either the mom wasn't there or the dad wasn't there. now like they're like some of those guys, their parents, and they're in their kids' life, like they're actively in their kids' life, like they take their kids to practice, to ballet classes. So I believe in
Are they
what
with,
I
are they
in what I
together, or are you saying this is
75% of women
dynamic?
marry before the age of 35 after examining the census
I,
data from 05 to 09.
I
Say
mean,
again?
they didn't tie the knot, Malik, but they're still in the kids' lives. Like,
But that's what I'm saying. So, do you guys believe in the structure of the marriage, or you just believe that being in the child's life is important? Because we're talking about two different things here.
I think both things can be true, right? Like, I do believe in the structure of marriage. I've seen it work. Whether my parents got divorced, but I've seen my parents also remarry and be far happier than they were together. I have friends and family and tons of people in my extended circle of my community who've been married for years and have shown me that. My grandparents, God rest my grandmother's soul, were married for nearly 50 years before she passed. So I've seen the Black marriage last, but I also think that parenthood doesn't always have to be marriage, right? Like, I've seen two people make a conscious choice to be there for a child's life. And even though they were never married, might have had their own two things, but the choice of being present for a child's life, which goes back to your larger point of like the Black family, the Black community, I think is way more valuable, right? Because there's people who stay married for the sake of children and their children fucking hate them by the time they're 18 and never go back home. Like,
But
that is a
that's a matter of how you raise a child. That's not something that's a common thing
But-
where you. That's not.
But
That's not a
my
common-
thing is though, I don't think that, to your point of depending on how your lifestyle structure is, I don't think it's going to save the Black community. You know what I'm saying? And like, yeah, there's more women than men, and some women are not going to get married. Some women are not going to have kids. That's just the reality of it. Like, no matter what it is, and even there's no perfect world. There's no perfect situation. You know what I'm saying? You can wake up today, lay with the person, and hate them tomorrow. Divorce is high in any like group of like race, ethnicity, or whatever it's high. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't stick together forever sometimes because they
We're
get
not
older.
talking about everywhere. We're talking specific about us. We're not talking about.
Yeah, but I'm not.
everybody.
What I'm saying to you is that's necessarily doesn't that doesn't mean there's no proven data that says that's gonna make us successful. You keep asking about numbers and these numbers and this data, but there's no data.
I've been only telling you about the numbers and data of what is going on right now, which is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what's going on right now is not what's helping us. So if it's not helping us, what is a tool that can help us outside of just saying what I believe is a tool is not necessarily the thing that can help us? Because if that case, then what y'all saying in monogamy is on the rise, and that it's changing the relationships of the Black community. And looking around, I don't think that's happening
I
as
don't
fast as y'all think so.
But I don't understand how you can't understand if a mom and a dad is present in a child's life and doing the best they can to the best of their abilities to raise their kids. They're putting them through school. They're making sure they got clothes on their back. You know what I'm saying? They're going to their football games, their basketball games. They're making sure they're getting the help they need in school and educated and all these things. And they're giving them love and emotion. How isn't that the answer to making sure the Black community gets better? Like, I don't understand.
Well,
like,
when
you're
you
saying,
give
like,
when you give a perfect example like that, yeah, your perfect example fits, of course. But let's think of how many mothers and how many fathers are actually doing that currently in 2021. Considering, if you want to look at it, how many of those people how many of us in these gangs and these violent situations that we're seeing with our people? You know, you talk about LA, all these robberies out here. Guess who's doing all the robberies out here in LA? It's kids, 15, 16-year-olds. The robberies in LA are ridiculous. Even Pop Smoke got smoked by some 15, 16-year-olds for some kids. So how many and how realistic is what you're saying for the perfect example actually happening in what's going on today? Because right now, today, most of the crazy shit happening
You can't
environment
equate robbery to shit like that, though. I'm sorry.
Again?
You can't equate the current set of robberies to the Black household, right? Like, I
Wait
get
a minute. Wait a minute. Listen to what I said. Listen to what I said. I said, look at the current. I'm looking at my current environment. I didn't say all the kids that are doing these robberies are Black kids. I didn't say that. I said that the people doing these robberies are young people. So when you talk about that perfect example of a parent influence, how is that?
That has nothing to do with the parent influence.
How is that perfect example fitting to what we're living in right now? because
But
most of the crime
robberies have
happening right
nothing
now
to do
are
with
kids.
parents. The robberies have to do with a
If
larger
your parent
economic.
goes to your basketball game and your football game and involved in your
I
life, and
promise you, if your parents go to every single game, bro, if you are eating fucking ramen noodles every night and you
I'm
cannot,
using
your
Justin
parents
Bieber's
can
example.
afford shit, bro. That has nothing to do with your parent being
Well,
broke.
I'm using
but
Justin Bieber's
It's
example.
an economic thing.
But here's
I'm
the
using
challenge.
Justin Bieber's
But
example. Justin Bieber's example was a full supportive parent for the child.
But a full
right?
supportive parent doesn't
Is that
change
what
the fact
is that
that
what
you
you're
don't have
referring to,
money for
JB?
your household.
Were you
Bro,
referring to a full supportive parent and how they're doing all this and that's what's going to help, the kid? I'm saying that example is not on a grand scale for what's happening for our youth.
I don't get how. My thing is, you can be polygamous and be terrible fucking parents.
Of course, yeah, you can.
So
Yeah,
my thing is,
if
if you bring these kids into the household, that doesn't necessarily means that's going to change anything.
Bringing more kids and having more money and having a father around doesn't make a good kid.
I'm saying it's proven fact that having two parents in the household is beneficial for the kid's development.
So even if that one parent is, that's not true. That is not true.
So
Bro, I know,
bro.
It's some horrible niggas in this world with both.
Can we talk about statistically? So statistically,
bro, statistically, you can't even do anything because the census isn't coming back out to 2030.
Wait a minute, let's just keep it simple. Statistically, you're saying that you believe that a single parent household is a better environment for a child than a two-parent household. That's all I'm saying.
I think an active parent is better than having one active parent and one absentee parent because there's two people in the household.
Healthy parent. Y'all keep saying
no, because two people in a household don't mean shit, bro. Like I know people who have raised their mama who wasn't there.
You're not being fair. If there's a healthy single parent relationship in a healthy two-parent household, you're telling me that there's more benefit in a healthy single parent relationship.
That is not what you're talking about. You are literally.
That's my question.
All I'm gonna say is, okay, so I could argue with you about this. At the end of the day, your argument at the end of the day is that you think that adding a nigga with a penis into a household makes a household better, and that's not what the fuck happens, bro.
That's not what I'm saying.
Bro,
that's what women want it to be so bad. Women want it to be to where it's like a win or lose situation, like a nigga just got a one up on the chick and can come in the house whenever and do all this. That's not at all what I'm talking about. I'm not.
So what are you talking about? I want you to explain exactly what you're talking about in plain layman's term. If you're saying a single parent household of one active parent versus two active parent with the two active parents versus a single person who's an active parent, I think at the end of the day, what children need is active parents and an active community around them. I'm never going to argue that a two-parent household probably isn't better for a child, right? But what I will say is this idea that just putting a man in a household makes a household better is not the answer.
Yeah,
like you are making that seem as though every man who has a child is an active parent, and that is not the case. The same thing with every mother who has a child is not an active parent. However, women tend to have to.
So if we go back to the beginning of the conversation, I said from the beginning that not every man can do this. Am I right, JB?
But you also said that you think that makes the black family strong. So if you want half of the black family to be strong and the other half to be weak.
Let's walk through it again. Okay. I've already said that not every man can do it. So for you to say that I believe that it takes a man to put in a household that makes it active, no. That's your point. My point is
that's not my point.
My point is that's what your words were. My point is that as two parents in a household, man and woman, is great for the development of a child. The situation that we living in, there's a lot more single parent households that are accumulating through the years than there's not. So in what I'm saying as a tool to benefit that is that there are guys out there that are great fathers and great stepfathers. Now, the guys and the people that can do it could benefit the community by bringing families together. Now, if you're just talking about throwing any old nigga in a situation and not giving no parameters of a structure, not giving no parameters of what the person and the people in that relationship want to do, then yeah, you can always throw this conversation off and make it seem like I'm generalizing niggas dating multiple bitches and all type of stuff. Yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you're from a polygamy standpoint, for a man that is able to do it, the benefits from it outweighs what monogamy is offering the Black community right now. Now, you can dress it up any old type of way and say, oh, the nigga may not be a great father. You can dress it up and say, oh, he's running from house to house. Yeah, there's all types of things that you can put in a scenario. When you try to force it on and say, oh, he has to be financially stable, there has to be many different factors when you're planning a relationship like that. But that's no different than a monogamous relationship that you're planning to be with somebody where you're talking about finances, talking about where you guys are going to live, how you guys are going to parent. That's a conversation to have too. So it's not like it only works one way.
Let's just say you're right. Let's just say you're right, right? There's no way you're going to convince Black women.
Me and my coochie not fucking with.
There's no way you
That's
can
not
convince
happening.
everybody, but at the end of the day, Black women have to understand y'all the ones that was doing polygamy in the beginning. That was the whole basis of a matriarchal society when you study our ancestors. So as much as the women have been conditioned today to be so strong on monogamy, well, it's important that you look up the history of where monogamy came from.
But you know what?
If we looked
The
up
argument that I will give
it's
you
from
about
people that don't look like you, and that's
what
all.
I will argue with you with this thing with polygamy and going back to Africa is that you know that there are also, and I hate that the word is escaping me, but there also is relationships, particularly in Africa, to which the woman has several husbands, but you refuse to accept that. Like polyamory and shit like that is also like that is also statistically my ancestors, right? Like granted, I come from islands, but like if we really want to go back to my ancestors.
Well, here's my part of the heritage. I feel like polygamy is not a normal thing in terms of certain things because
it's also illegal.
No, but I feel like that didn't work neither. Because that.
What do you mean it didn't work? What do you mean it didn't work? We built temples that are still standing today for.
You think that the temples were built because of polygamy?
So. We were a matriarchal society. This is a patriarchal society.
But here's my thing, Malik. I'll say this: history is important, but I feel like everything has to do with present day. So, like,
what are you talking about? Time is not linear. First of all, time is not a linear thing. So to say that it's focused on the present, the now, and the future is all one thing. So to say this is some linear thing where we're way over here and now we've progressed the time to way over here, that's what you call a white man construct. That's not how time actually goes. Time is a circle.
That's not true.
What do you mean? Time is not a linear thing.
Bro,
time is not something that
also. Time isn't linear, nor is time a circle. Time is a man-made concept that we could use to make years happen. So what are you trying to say that you think that it's circular?
What Justin Bobby was referring to was making it seem like time, if we have progressed from now to we're in the present day. But there's no such thing as the present day from the future from the past.
Malik.
But that's science. That's not
Malik. If everything was based off history and it's just history itself, and we went off everything that was presented back in the day, me and you would not be talking through this computer right now. We would not be talking through this computer right now.
First of all, it's already dated in hieroglyphs and already dated in statues. We've had phones and all type of shit back then. It's already history and artifacts based on that.
Bro.
Your third eye is open. We've accepted this.
It's not about no third eye. This is shit you can look up. A lot of this shit is not.
Unlike you, I went to an HBCU. Unlike you, I went to an HBCU that had hieroglyphs, right? Like I took hieroglyphs in college as a collegiate course, and I promise you, at no part of my hieroglyph course was there anything about the random iPhone.
Do you believe that in that same course you've learned everything you can learn?
I truly do believe that at Howard University I was given the most apt education
about hieroglyphs in an HBCU class. It just shows that you have so much arrogance about your own knowledge.
But what I do think is that I learned the good basics of knowledge.
Something and that you throw this HBCU stuff. I'm not discrediting your knowledge, sister. I'm just telling you that there's things that you didn't learn all of it.
And
That's
the thing
fair.
is, I will always admit to life that I don't know everything, right? However, as someone who took hieroglyphs for a
Listen,
good
that's a
amount of my
class.
collegiate
That's not
career,
no. That's not. That's
for
a
a
class.
good amount of
That's
my
a class.
and where did you learn your hieroglyphs?
Are you telling me
So where
that
did you
this
learn your
class?
hieroglyphs?
I'm
I just want to know where you
let's
learned
just keep it
yours.
real.
I just
Are you
want at
telling
Notre
me
Dame.
that this
Did you learn
class
your
is
hieroglyphs at
telling
Notre
you
Dame?
everything
In
about your
Southland?
history? That's all I'm asking. If you're
Did you
telling me
learn
that
in
you keep
Indiana?
saying this class, this is hieroglyphs class, this thing you took at your HBC,
I just think
is
that at
that
HBCU,
unlocking everything that you should know about your history?
So again, so I'm gonna
It's
reiterate
not.
this for you
It's
as you
not.
I just
It's
want to
not.
reiterate for you so you can hear
It's
it, right?
not.
So I was an African American Studies major. And I
Oh
do
my
think that learning a hieroglyphs at an HBCU allowed me a certain level of knowledge, and participating in that in several semesters gave me that. But however, what I do want you, I would like to ask you, which I'm very much so pondering, is did you learn hieroglyphs in Indiana? Did we learn it on the internet? Like, where did we find our knowledge of hieroglyphs with the iPhone? Deep
So
side, the deep
I'm going
Negro
to
side.
answer this question with the problem that I have with how we are as a community in a lot of aspects. I'm not here to.
What do you mean by that, brother?
I'm not here to tell this sister what her or discredit her couple years in African American studies, because I do think it's important to have some basis of knowledge of your situation, of our people. I'm not here to tell her that she's wrong because she hasn't seen something. I'm not telling her that, but I'm also telling her that she also could not possibly learn everything there is to learn about your history, and especially
That's true.
from a class. I think if anything, you're always continuing to learn about your people's history, because one, a lot of the shit that you learn at HBCUs and that information paid for at HBCUs ain't telling you the truth anyway. A lot of it's not, and we know that because if we look at our master teachers like Joseph Ben Yakimin, we look at some of our master teachers like Henry Clark. A lot of people that we talk about when we talk about our history is that you can do a bunch of hieroglyphs and you can do a bunch of studying in class, but until you can explain the culture behind all this stuff that you're learning in class, a lot of that stuff just becomes some Googleable information. If you haven't heard something about the previous technology that we've had before we are in today, what one thing you learn about our ancestors, that there's nothing new under the sun. So as much as you believe that nowadays we're so much more advanced than before, if you look today, right now in Egypt, they still can't build a fucking pyramid, even to this day. So you tell me what was more technically
Malik.
advanced
So
back then or right now. So
Malik.
if
So what you're
anything,
saying,
we
I
So
know
were
the
so
Eiffel Tower
technically
and all that
advanced
thing?
as a civilization back then that we still have shit we can look at and revere
bro.
for our
So
ancestors.
look.
This shit today is couldn't touch what we was doing back then.
Bro, the theory is that there were advanced civilizations before. Like they thought that we were
Look
so
at the
primitive.
fucking shit going on, right? If you go over there right now, you don't find no motherfucking
Have you ever gone to Egypt?
tomb. You don't find no fucking tomb of fucking Muhammad. You don't find no tomb of no fucking nothing of what they talk about in that book, for instance.
So have you
Now, if you
gone
go
to
back
Egypt?
over there right now and you
Never
go to
gone to
any African country where these historical facts are, and you can see them built like the pyramid
Have
of Zoser.
you gone
The
to
pyramid
any
of
of these
Zoser.
African
Do
countries?
you know anything about the pyramid of Zoser? The pyramid of Zoser has never ever been duplicated and can never ever be duplicated to this day. Now you ask me, why is that so important? Well, if you think about how long ago that was built and that civilization that was built back then you have to sit there and realize that technology and that civilization was far more advanced than any of this shit today. So when we talk about an iPhone being back then, it probably wasn't called no iPhone, but they had shit way better than that. They had shit way better than that. And if you don't believe it, there's things you can go do to believe it. Go research it.
So the
You're not
only
about
thing
to
I
be
want to,
here.
I'm not going to argue with you because truly, honestly, I've accepted in this conversation that your third eye is far more open than mine, and I'm not going to
It's
argue with
not
you.
no
The
third
only,
eye,
no,
yo.
AJ.
Oh my
That's so funny to say.
The
It's
only
like,
thing I want to tell to you is the only thing I want to say. The only thing, literally the only thing I want to say on this, the sake of building shit. One, I suggest that you go to Africa. I don't know if you have. If you've ever gone to anywhere on the continent, I would suggest staying with Tanzania. It's a beautiful country, amazing architecture. If you were very much so into it, I would suggest it highly. Number two, in terms of building things, Like, even if we talk about, unfortunately, this place that is called America, right? The houses built in the 1800s and the 1900s had a very different foundation and were built far stronger than shit built in 2021 because we mass produce shit. I am not comparing that to the pyramids by any means because I understand the mathematic. I understand all of that, and I will never take away from that. But the idea that you have that is so far-fetched and so abstract,
About
I very much
what?
so respect your ideology,
Which one's
and I am
abstract?
not going to get into it.
So
However,
you
what I
just
will
want to throw it out
suggest,
there.
what I will
so your
suggest
crazy
is to
HBU
truly.
knowledge. And
I went to an
crazy.
HBCU. CU. You got the college and university. Respect. Thank you very much. What I will suggest to you is truly visit the continent. In my country that I would say for you to start with would be Tanzania. I know everyone says Egypt because everyone wants to see the pyramids, but there's a beautiful architecture.
Egypt is the newest of the whole collection of what we can talk about. We'll talk about Africa.
So again,
Africa,
no. I don't. So the thing is, I'm not trying to get into this Africa because I visited the continent several times. I've gone to several countries. I don't want to have this conversation with you, but I don't know if you have. So I'm just suggesting if you have to go to Tanzania. That is the end of me talking to Africa with you because truly and honestly, you are on a very different plane than most people, and I love this for you, and I love this knowledge for you. I love that you are woke like this. 10 for 10. Have a great day.
So like, can you explain to me why, like, when we talk about Egypt, right, and like all this like black people, Egypt,
brother,
why every time I see somebody that's Egyptian now, they don't ever look black?
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna mute this mic. So I'm gonna.
Why would I see somebody? Everybody talk about this Egypt shit, and the black people, we built this shit. Why every time I see somebody that is Egyptian, they do not look black?
Have you ever heard of invaders? Have you ever heard of that shit? Have you ever heard about what an invader does? What you know what I'm saying? So we got to talk about history to even get into that.
Nah, we're not doing that.
Egypt now is not Egypt then. Let's just put it like that.
I mean, okay.
In his defense, which I very much so hate that I'm ever defending this man in this conversation. Northern Africa has a very different experience than Southern and Central Africa in terms of conquest, which lends to the fact that a lot of them are lighter, right? Like when you get to like Tunisia and like all those other countries that are very like Northern Africa, because of their proximity to like Southern Europe, they do have a very different colonist experience. The only country that I feel like falls in that mix that doesn't have that same experience is Ethiopia, which everyone knows was never
you know what somebody was saying? I seen somebody made a great point. They were saying that a lot of the things that for instance, you know how there's different like species of humans and all this other bullshit, right? They were saying that if you look at people from like you said the northern part of the right, so if you look
I would say like Northern Africa, yeah,
so if you look at the equator, if you notice like if you go like south, people become darker. If you go north, people become lighter. So it's just like it depends on where you.
It's just like what are you trying to say?
But that's also like just. That's a general evolution, though, right? Like, so if you were closer to
what evolution? Wait, what are you talking about?
So again, Malik, this fun times.
Wait, are you saying that
when you are closer to or around a place that's super sunny, right? Like your skin needs to adapt to that level of sunlight, right?
Oh
like you need to be able to take that. The same way if you go to like if you live in Antarctica, right? You need to be able to live and experience the same way. Like you could even argue with people about like the way their eye shapes are, like different facial features are based on like the climate that previously was, and that was an adapted feature to those climates.
Yes, that's why.
Can I address that?
Listen, I'm here to destroy all Hotep theories, so let's go.
I don't want to do this.
Like we said, Joseph, these Hotep niggas are not trusted.
So do you believe?
Hidden colors was the worst thing that happened to the black community, bro. Tariq Nasheed and all these niggas, man.
Can we address this? So are you telling me that people that left the equator got lighter through environmental changes? Is that what you're telling me?
No, historically, if you look at the people in these regions, if you look at certain regions, the people are darker. And when they're darker, the sun hits. Where the people that are pale, they live in cold climates. That's just facts.
Wait, no.
you're saying
Justin,
that-
so Justin,
okay,
wait.
okay,
What we
okay,
live
let's
is not
take it
facts.
back to the
So
beginning
Malik,
then, because this shit is,
no.
this is what we call nigga
Hold on,
science.
Malik.
This is not a real thing.
Not niggas. So we're
This is called
Malik.
nigga science.
No,
There's
no,
such
Malik.
thing.
I don't want to do nigga science with you. I want to know why you think that there are lighter, paler people further from the equator. I just want to know your explanation. I don't want you to
ask the
fight
question.
that.
We gotta ask the question that is very, very simple. Do you believe that these people that aren't melanated are the same people as you? That's the question I want to know. Do you believe that
Do
the
you think
people
that
you're saying,
white people? Do you think that white
Wait
people
a minute.
evolved from a different animal?
Wait a minute. First of all, you thinking that we even came from animals is even disrespectful.
Well, to be fair, no. Wait. So to be fair, humans originated and were born in Africa. Like that's a known fact, right?
Okay.
The man started in Africa, so then we spread it.
Malik, are you very religious? So do you believe in Adam and Eve?
Listen,
So
Adam and Eve is not a fucking real thing either.
Technically,
What are
those
you
people
talking
would
about?
those people would have to come from us if you're talking about like through history and DNA and like when the first man was made, right? But
Do
there's
you
different
believe-
species of humans.
Do you believe that they are the same people as us? Do you believe these people that you keep saying somehow?
But you know, all right, so
away
do
from
you
the
know,
equator?
you know a lot of white people, like some of them have Neanderthal DNA, right? That's a fact. They have Neanderthal DNA, and then eventually, like they made it, and they became
Do you
humans.
believe we have Neanderthal DNA?
If you made it with a Neanderthal, yes.
Do you believe
If
black
somebody
people
in your
have
bloodline,
Neanderthal DNA?
you probably do, nigga, because of slavery.
Come on, let's just stick.
You're not listening to me. You probably do.
Stick on
Let me tell you this. I probably do because my mom has a slave last name. So meaning therefore there's owners of a plantation that made it with my people, which then means that in my bloodline somewhere there are white people in my DNA that could be Neanderthals.
Justin Bobby, do you believe that
that's science?
White
that is
people,
not a theory.
White people
that is science.
Are the same people as black people, or do you believe that everybody is coming from the same thing? That's all I want to know. Do you believe that everybody is from the same source, or do you believe that there's a different source for us and a different source for people that don't have the same melanin? That's the only question I'm asking.
We're all humans.
We're not talking about 2021. You might be mixed with a cracker here or there, and something might have happened where you got a couple particles. We're talking about just in general. Do you believe the source of all of us come from one source, or do you believe that the melanated people have a source and people that aren't melanated?
So let me tell you why. We are humans, right? We are all humans.
God. Nothing on this planet is the same, meaning nothing is the fucking same. So this whole we all came from the same place. No, we didn't, and science proves that.
Where did we come from, Malik?
If you don't have melanin,
because I'm not arguing with you in this. I've chose to mute myself most of this conversation. But where do white people come from? If that is your argument, are they from the Vikings? But where do Vikings come from?
I can only speak for people that look like me.
So you've only learned about Black history.
When you asking me questions about people that I can't tell you an origin from, I can tell you where we come from. But
so where do we come from? Hold on, wait. Before you answer that question, do you assume that me, you, Justin, and Mo are all the same?
I believe melanated Black people come from the same source. Yes.
So you think that people who are melanated are also Black?
I believe melanated people come from the same
people who are olive are also Black.
I believe melanated people, Black people on this planet, come from the same source.
So where do we come from? No, fuck out of here. Where do we come from? Since we are all one of the same tribe, despite the fact that we all come from different parts of the universe, different continents, damn near. But I would like to know where you think that we all come from.
I would like to refer to science to talk about where we come from.
And I don't want to fight you.
refer to, no,
like
no. Because if you refer to science, the human species, they arrived, or whatever fuck you want to call it, in Africa. That is science. That is a fact. So I don't understand, if we're all humans, the core of where we started is Africa.
So let me ask you a question. If that's true,
the cradle of
then how can you go? If that's true,
Africa.
wait a minute. If that's true,
yeah, go ahead.
And everybody started in Africa that we can agree on, right?
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck do you travel north or south and change color, hair, eye complexion? How does that happen? If it's just evolution standpoint. How do you
wait, Justin, before you answer, do you believe that before I get
question?
I know. I want Justin to answer this question, but before he answers that question, do you believe in evolution of any sort?
Evolution is what you learned in school. That's what you're referring to? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I just want to know the basic term of what you believe evolution is, that people adapt to the
I
areas
believe
in
the
which they
Charles
live
Darwin
in.
evolution theory is full of shit, and you know it's full of shit because it's called a theory. It's a theory. That's just like saying the theory that there's an inner core.
So Charles Darwin's theory is survival of the fittest, which is a different septum of evolution. But you believe that evolution isn't a thing. Okay, that's all I need.
I do not believe the Charles Darwin evolution theory that niggas came from apes coincides with our history, because that's not true. And secondly, if we don't derive from because we gotta think about what.
So are we all kings and
queens?
You're
taking a fucking European person's interpretation
we was all kings and
of our
queens?
history.
Let me get my fucking crown. Hold on.
Why are we talking about a European's interpretation of our history? You telling me about what Charles Darwin was thinking about? First of all, did you know Charles Darwin was a racist? So the first thing he gonna compare.
Hold on, wait.
Malik, because last time
evolution was not
anytime
determined.
You try to throw Charles Darwin at a nigga,
Charles
Darwin.
Wait. One, Charles Darwin was racist, and I've known that. Two, Charles Darwin was the only person who'd ever thought of evolution or discussed evolution.
But that's what you referred to, is it not?
No, it's not. You are referring to that. I've never put a title onto the level of evolution that I described, because evolution is a thing that live within
back when I was in school, the only evolution I heard was evolution theory. If you heard of a different evolution,
limit that to your knowledge that you were taught, and that is okay.
What evolution theory?
As you told me, your education was in everything that you were taught.
What evolution?
Don't look at yourself.
Let me tell you like this, bro. It's kind of like it's common sense, because I think.
Wait, you have to answer the question before you start talking.
What do you want me to answer?
Do you believe, since we all started in Africa, how is it possible, if we started there, that if you travel 100 miles north and 100 miles south, you would literally turn features and colors? Do you believe that? Because if you do, then answer the question: how the fuck does that happen genetically?
Well,
through some sunshine and on some different parts of the planet. That shit sounds crazy as hell. If we know where we're from, but you're not explaining where they come from. You explaining where we started, because if you think about it, if we started in Africa, why the fuck will we ever leave Africa? Everything is grown there. Everything. All the things that we have in this world.
So do you believe in Pangea?
Outsourced from Africa. What are we talking about? So why would an African ever leave the civilization he came from, when that's the most fruitful part of the planet, to go where? To Russia for what? So you got to tell me, if we started here, how did they get to Russia? And how did they
do you believe in Pangea? Do you think Pangea was ever a thing?
No. Answer the question. How?
Just not saying that.
That's your answer. If your answer is a Pangea,
my answer is not Pangea. My answer is not Pangea. I just want you to know.
Pangea is not a theory.
It's not. I just want to know: do you believe that Pangea was a thing? Because truly and honestly, I don't know.
What's that got to do with anything? What's the Pangea got to do with anything?
Because if you believe Pangea, we were all a cluster.
So I don't believe in the Pangea. I do believe that there was where we started, which we all know, and I'm asking the question: if that's what we all know and that's where we started, how the fuck did you go 100 miles north, 100 miles south, change color, feature, hair, eyes? How did that happen if they're all African? How? Because somebody got to start to explain some evolution. Everybody want to talk about Pangea and all this. Talk about the question. If we evolving, And it's not
let's just say that. All right, first of all,
how did we get to white?
The human race are natural explorers, right? So the theory, or whatever the case may be, or scientific fact, is that the people explored and went to different regions, and when the people explored,
what people?
Humans, nigga.
No.
Humans explored, went to different regions of the world.
Wait. You want to know the exact race? That's what you try to.
There's only one race. We already agreed Africans were the first ones here. So you're talking about human race.
That's not a race.
What is it then?
That's an ethnicity.
Race, just to define things, because I really don't want to be part of this conversation. Race is what you see with your two eyes. And ethnicity is what country you originate
How did
from, right?
African go from non-African? How did an African go from an African being a non-African? If we're the first
Malik, I just want to. I don't want to have that conversation with you. I don't want to have that conversation.
But I do want to talk. First here,
I don't want to have that conversation.
How are there non-Africans?
You talk in circles. You talk in a
circle. Y'all not answering the question.
Loops. What I'm trying to, the only thing I want to define to you is you can say that my race is black, right? However, my ethnicity is an African, right? I'm Haitian.
If there were Africans here first, how are there non-Africans that got here?
So I would like you to think. So you don't agree with Pangea, right? But most of the world and all of science.
Let's say I agree with Pangea. Continue your point.
No. Shut up.
Continue your point.
You just talk because you have a mouth at this point, dog. So if Pangea was a thing, right? Because most of the world accepts Pangea. Most of the world.
I accept
Malik might not, but whatever.
I accept it.
If we were all in the same, like, damn near equator thing, right? Like, let's say you do know that if we all got the same sunlight, same resources, same land, it may or may not have been a nourishment part for the whole little Pangea shit. Like, all of Pangea could have been very fucking lit. All it could have been. I don't know. I personally did not live through Pangea. I also am not an agriculture major or knew anything about that, and I don't care to know about these things. But from what I have learned about Pangea, it seemed as though everything on the equator, generally speaking, had a similar climate. Because, generally speaking, currently now living on the equator, you have a general climate. So, continent split, whoop-de-woo. Now we have all different type of climates for all these different continents, which causes for people to adapt to their new climates. Correct?
That's called science. You're talking about something environmental changes.
What?
Genetic.
You're telling me something I spent my good.
It's never gonna fucking happen. You know, there's people that are black that live in Russia that's still black that's been there all their life. So you're not gonna convince somebody that you develop a different skin color.
But let me explain that to you.
Climate. That's fucking
like, all right. So like, let me just explain this. It's just this is just basic logic, right?
That is basic logic.
Let me tell you, if you go from, let's say, Miami to Antarctica, right? Your skin in general is going to get lighter. It's going to get paler. That's a fact. That is a fucking fact. You can still be dark.
Are you going to lose your melanin? Are you going to lose your melanin?
I'm not saying
about being lighter.
Yes, person, no, hold on. As a person who went from living in the Caribbean to living in America, right? So Malik, no, Malik, come back to this camera. Come back here. So as someone who went from living in the Caribbean to in New York City, I have lost significant amount of the color that I used to be, right? When I was in the islands, I was brown skinned. Like, you would have never even considered me to be light skinned. I moved here and I realized that I was fucking light skinned.
You do know the sun.
Are you confused? Are y'all confused?
You know that.
Are you talking about? Do you realize that y'all talking about a fucking tan? Are y'all silly or what? You talking about light skin? You're still black. You're still black.
But if I keep procreating, and adjusting to my environment, what happens?
You keep telling me that the environment is somehow going to change your fucking genetics to make you somehow a non-black person.
How do you
live in a colder climate?
Hold on. So do you think genetics happens in one generation or two generations?
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever? No.
That's fucking science.
Have you ever seen black people in Brazil?
There's black people all types of shades.
Black people in Brazil.
I'm not debating that.
Have you seen black people in Brazil?
We even have black people that have albino.
Have you seen black people in Brazil?
Oh my god, bro! I would love to explain that too. Now, just because
I don't need to explain it,
that doesn't make them black.
I have family in Brazil. Brazil has the most Africans outside of Africa. you
Wait a
dumbass
minute,
nigga. What the fuck are you talking about,
wait a
bro?
minute,
What are
wait a
you
minute.
talking about?
Because you
Brazil
have
Word,
has
I'm about to
most
say.
Africans outside of
If you don't
fucking
want to hear
Africa.
it, if you don't
Yeah,
want to hear
Brazil
the
do have the
explanation,
most Africans.
They literally
What you
on
have-
capital
what you
had the
have-
most Africans outside of Africa.
what I would like to explain is that you have something called a Dravidian. Now, a Dravidian is a person that looks fucking black, but they're not fucking
What
black.
the fuck is that?
Yo, bro.
Being
Yo,
black is something that you see in your eyes, bro. Being African and
Malik.
is-
No. Malik, read. Just let me go. Yo, whatever YouTube videos and hidden
We
color
dealing
shit
with-
you
we
be
dealing
watching,
with
you
some
need to
dumb-
stop.
You're not
Listen to
using
me, bro.
common sense
The
now.
largest slave import is fucking
I'm not
Brazil.
denying that there's
Bro,
not
It
black
is
people
Brazil.
there.
wait.
What are y'all
The
talking
largest
about? I'm not saying that there's not black
Hold
people
on,
there.
largest
What are y'all talking
concentration
about?
of Africans went to
I'm
Brazil.
not saying that that's not
Also,
true.
wait,
What are y'all talking about?
Malik, wait. I want you to
I'm not
understand-
saying that there's
Hold
not
on,
black
Malik. I
people
want you to
in
shut the
Brazil.
fuck up for 2 seconds.
There's more of
I want
me
you-
and you.
No,
in
wait.
Brazil.
I'm not debating that.
I want you to understand
I'm
that
not
there's a
debating that.
Hold on, Malik. I want you to shut the fuck up and realize two things, right? So I do understand
Y'all
that
niggas be saying
being in America, right? There's a conundrum between the term black, right? People also some say black as a culture and black as a race, right? So culturally and globally, black is a race, but in America, black also subs as a culture because obviously, like Detroit has buffs, fucking the South has this. Like, there's cultures that go into black culture, right? But when you look at it globally, which I would hope that you could understand with your education.
how do you judge somebody?
No,
that's
shut
black?
the
You judge
fuck
them by
up!
their
Shut up!
features, their
You're talking because you have a mouth
their
right now. So what I would
Y'all
like
talking about
what I would like
buffs.
you to understand.
You're talking
is
about
that
fucking
race-
glasses.
What I want
nigga.
you
You're
to
talking about
understand that.
features.
So I'm talking about black culture as a complete conglomerate.
We don't
But
identify
what I want
black
you to
people by their culture.
what-
We identify black people
what
by their
I am-
features. White
So
people
what
don't be
I-
like,
so
oh, do you
yes.
have buffs?
So
Oh, do
Malik,
you
if
have
you're
fucking Nikes?
so Malik, so if you're a dumbass can understand that shit, that you could understand that Brazil has the most fucking black people outside of fucking
I
Africa.
never denied that.
Dumbass nigga,
I never
like,
denied that.
you
I never denied
literally
that.
just did. You just tried to tell them that they weren't black. Did
No,
you
what
not
I
just
tried
say
to
them-
say was
just
that
hold
there's
on.
difference
Justin, did he not just say that?
between a
Justin, what did he say?
Dravidian and black people. You assume
Wait,
that I said
hold
that
on.
black
What
people
is that?
in
What
Brazil.
is that you just named? What is that you
Because
just
a
named?
Dramedian, because they look black, that they're not black. So
No,
their
you're
skin is
confused.
darker
You're
than being
confused.
black.
You're
Are they not black?
You're confused.
I'm not confused. I know what that
you
term
identify
means.
black people by their features. Number one, you're not identifying a black person because they wear fucking buffs. You're not identifying a black person because they
That
fucking
was my
wearing
explanation
shoes.
of black
So
culture.
what I'm saying is, I
Relax.
never
That was my
denied that
explanation of black
people.
culture.
I never
Relax.
denied that black people weren't
We're
in
talking about
Brazil.
culture.
I never-
Culture. Listen,
I
you
Black
never
culture,
denied
black
that
people.
Africans
To be
wasn't in
black is
Brazil.
literally so racially
No,
to
no,
be
no, no,
black
no.
is literally to see black skin. Like racially is all about your fucking
That's a lie.
phenotype.
That's a
Culture,
lie.
but
To
culture-
be black
look,
is a phenotypical
Do
thing,
you
bro.
realize
Race
that
is
there's
all
Wait,
phenotypical.
wait.
Do you realize that? Do you realize
said
that
what?
there's Indians that are dark skinned? Do you realize that?
Bro.
Do you
They're
realize?
And I-
Okay, so we can acknowledge that Indians are dark skinned.
Bro.
Now, are those
But
Indians?
that is
black
a
people?
phenotypical thing. To be racial is phenotypical. Ethnicity
So we
is where it comes with
identify
culture,
black
bro.
people by their
So-
features.
No, because what you are saying is black culturally and black racially are two
What am I
different
saying
things.
as black culturally? What am I saying as black culturally?
You're literally trying to say all
No,
these
no, but
other
wait,
add-ons of black.
I haven't talked about black culture at all. I say you identify black people by their features. You're talking about buff, shoes,
All
where
right,
they
so
from. Y'all
all right,
niggas
so
are
let me
even saying that
let me
because
address
you
let me
know-
address the buff thing, right? When she said culture is something that's like
It's a
what
way
you
of life.
identify. Yeah, it's a way of life, right? So if you look at the way Jamaicans are, if you look at the way Trinidadians are, if you look at the way Haitian are, they have different cultures. So African Americans in the United States culture is different. So like our culture might be double Dutch. It might be if you're from Detroit when she said buffs. Yeah, because they wear buffs, nigga. It's a part of their culture. It's something
I'm not
that we
denying
do.
that. Can we
Yes, you
acknowledge
did.
that I
You
never
just said
denied
that.
it?
You just
You
said
literally just
I
said
said
that.
that
You
we
said- yo,
identify
Malik,
black people by their features. As in, if I was a
No,
white
you
boy,
said
if I was a white
you
boy
didn't
and I was looking at
you did
Justin
say
Bobby,
you.
I wouldn't look at Justin Bobby's earring or his hat and be like, "Oh, that's a black man by culture." I would look at Justin Bobby's nose. I would look at his lips and be like, "Oh, that's a
Hell
black
no,
man."
you did not say that. Because you said
No,
That's what I'm
that's
talking
not
about,
what
though.
you said.
That's
That's
what I'm
not
talking about.
what
Hold on,
you
hold on.
said.
I'm not denying nothing
Stop.
about
You
no
say you
culture.
identify black people as by their sneakers, so don't do that shit. You said
I
white
don't
people
do that. I don't do that. I've never said that. I was telling you that you identify people.
Yo, play the
identify
tape back,
outside
bro.
of black. People that are outside of black identify black people by their features. We're not
No, but what
identifying
I'm
black people by
what I'm
culture,
saying
'cause
is
that's a
So that's
if you
undefined
see
thing.
so
if
black
you
is
see somebody
phenotypical.
if you
So
see
black is
somebody
phenotypical.
rocking buffs, if you see somebody rocking buffs, if you see somebody rocking a hat a certain way, whatever the case may be, right? If you see somebody rapping, those are things within the African American culture.
Okay,
Right?
what's that got to do anything? What's that got to do anything?
The only thing that I was bringing up, because you keep trying to bring up this buff things that I said, and what I was trying to make you understand was the distinction between black culture and black as a race. Black as a race is an international thing, whereas black as a culture is very particular to America, which is why I brought up the example of buffs.
Okay, but I'm not.
Or bringing up
denying
the thing of New Balances in DC or Fitteds in New York.
that. I've never denied
Like
that. I've never denied that you can relate certain aspects.
Dog,
of
you
what
literally
happens in
just sat this last 20 minutes of this conversation
I spent
denying
this
that.
last 20
Because
minutes
you
trying to
kept
explain what a Dravidian was. That's what I've been
Okay,
trying to explain.
So no.
Y'all
So
not
fuck
letting me
everything
explain
that
what
we're talking
Dravidian
about.
was.
Explain that for us. Explain
Okay,
it for the
so a
dumb class that is
Dravidian-
in front of you.
So once again, when original question was, how do you get from being an African to start in Africa through Pangea or whatever the fuck, and y'all explanation for changing literal genetic structure is because of an environmental temperature change. That's nigga science. I'm not gonna get no. I don't care how many fucking generations.
Nigga science. What is that?
Listen to me. I don't care how many generations I live in New York. Yes, I might not be as dark as I would in a hotter climate. That doesn't make me less of any type of black. I will always be fucking black. And if I'm a black man, now if I mix with a bunch of white women through time, yes, I will be less and less black because of the genetics that I've mixed. I'm not going to genetically change my structure and become a white boy if I live in Russia for hundreds of fucking years. If I never mate with anybody that's fucking white and Russian, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Because if that was the case, then a lot of us today living in a predominantly cold climate, we would never be as dark as we are. We keep reverberating until we all become white people. And that's just not true. So what I'm saying is that for us, there is no such thing as everybody is made the same. I can identify and know exactly where we come from, but I can't explain to you that something of somebody else that's not us, where they come from. So when you ask me how do black people get here and I can explain that. But you talking about everybody being the fucking same, and then the only reason why we're different is because a nigga live in the cold and a nigga live down low. That don't
Malik,
even
do you think me and you are the
It's
same?
not scientifically true. And
So
any
Malik,
nigga
do you
that
think
told
you and I
that,
are the same
you
type
should
of
be
black?
upset about that.
So Malik, do you think you and I are the same type of black?
Yes. What are you talking about?
I know.
If you
I just have
melanin, let's just explain the science before we start talking about cultural
fuck
differences.
science, because
Melanin
unlike
is
you,
melanin.
maybe I unlike most people, which I can accept that I'm very grateful that I know this. I know my family heritage, right? So again, do you think that me and you are the same?
I'm just explaining through science. Yes, I think
So
melanin and people are the same because melanin is a frequency.
So
that
I
comes
can
from
argue
the
you,
sun.
right? My grandparents,
Here we go.
on both sides of my family, one of my grandparents are black. If you go past that, all of my family's fucking white.
Okay, so if you go outside right fucking now and you get fucking pulled over, do you think any of the niggas are gonna ask you?
So a
you look
phenotype.
like you could be
so
white.
you're agreeing that black is a phenotype. Okay, as long as you admit that black is a phenotype, because you were trying to talk all this other evolution shit and all this other things.
About what? That's what.
Yes, I am black.
Shit?
I'm never arguing that I am
What
black. When I'm
evolution
trying to
shit, though?
argue, oh brother,
You keep saying I'm bringing up evolution shit. I haven't brought up one
you
evolution.
literally have this assumption that because African people or black people in your words, because I'm not going to use my own words, because I think that my education was valuable. in your words, you think that Black people simply are sought out from Africa, and that we just all miraculously sprinkled our way around the globe and then made other Black people.
We got
And we
around the
stayed
world.
Black.
First of all, let's address that because
stayed
that's
Black.
not true. Let's address that because
Okay,
that's not true.
let's
The
address
Lakers
that.
won, by the
we
way.
were the first to
Let's go Lakers.
circumnavigate
Yes.
the whole fucking world. We were the first to circumnavigate
LeBron
the
had
whole
30.
fucking world. And you know how we circumnavigated the whole fucking world? We circumnavigated the whole fucking world because we mapped it out through fucking having ships. We sailed to other parts of the fucking world. So let's talk about one of the ancient civilizations that, you know, Justin Barbie brought up about being at the equator, the Olmec civilization. The Olmec civilization, since you talk about hieroglyphs, did you learn anything about hieroglyphs in the Olmec civilization? No, you didn't. You know why you don't learn about the Olmec civilization? Because the Olmec civilization is discredited by these fucking Mayans, these fucking Aztecs, but the Incas, but the Olmecs were the original Black people. And you know why? Because the Olmecs had a hieroglyphic language. They didn't have fucking symbols and just fucking some artifacts and paintings. They had a fucking language. And where did that language derive from? That language derived from Egypt, because they had the same coffins, they did the same cultures within what they did over Egypt, over in the Olmecs, over in South America. So when you say that I said that fucking Africans ain't in fucking South America, I know that's not true. So I don't know why we spent all 15 minutes arguing about that shit. Secondly, if you ask yourself, how the fuck did the Olmecs get from Egypt all the way to fucking South America? There's only one fucking way. And that's fucking through ships, because if they didn't do it through ships, you would talk about them having to walk through the fucking Bering Strait. So yes, when you talk about a fucking Pangea, yeah, there was such thing as an ice age too. And yes, Black people walked across the ice age. But when we talk about this nigga science of Black people thinking they're indigenous to fucking America, talking about these Indians and shit, that's fucking bullshit. Because if you think about it, yes, we circumnavigated and we have may have been from different places, but we've been everywhere. That doesn't make us indigenous to an area. So no, if you look at the temperatures from the ice age area to where we are in America, there's no fucking way in the world you could be a fucking Indian, because you would have to come from the south to go north. You don't go from the fucking ice Bering Strait down south through Canada and fucking Americas. You would have to come north. So yes, we came from we came to America through the south. So a bunch of Africans are existing historically through this part of the land. But if you're thinking about it, if we all came from fucking Africa, y'all still have not explained, other than nigga science and saying that if you live in a colder area, you change. How did you get a different race of people if we were here first? And you
I can't explain that to you because you don't believe in evolution. Because in evolution, your environment affects.
Environment affects what? So because if that's true, why are you not fucking white?
For instance,
what the fuck?
All right, so there's different ways to explain it, right? There's different. Yo, bro, right? You want me to explain it? I'm trying to explain it, right? If you talk about there's different ways of evolution, right? So there's one way to explain it. When you talk about giraffes, right? There's giraffes that were bigger, that were smaller, right? But the bigger giraffes, they last. So people think when you're like evolution, like you'll see something and then the motherfucker will change in it. No, it's the same theory as survival of the fittest, right? The stronger of the group will last and the weaker will die out. So it's kind of like, even if you think about like the average height of a man, right? If you compare it from back in the day, it's much different because men have gotten taller. If you look at even from the NBA standpoint,
that doesn't change the nigga's race. Getting taller and shorter is not the same as getting black and white. That's not the fucking same thing.
I explained that to you. You didn't want to believe me. You think that here's your logic, right? If you're black,
I just want to know where you.
Wait. If you're black,
melanin is a frequency from the fucking sun. That's scientifically proven. Do you understand about frequencies and electromagnetic waves and how things vibrate into existence? That's why when it talks about the God and how God spoke things into existence, that spoke part is a frequency, meaning that frequency reverberates into a physical manner, which is your melanin. So when you talk about where do black people come from, we literally come from the universe, the cosmos. A frequency.
We are from God. So you do believe in God?
It's not no fucking third eye. It's fucking science. It's so not the nigga shit that niggas talk about.
The shit that you're saying, you don't believe in science. You keep saying science, but you don't believe in science. You don't believe in nothing. Yo, bro, you don't believe in nothing when it comes to science.
We get thin lips and we get long hair if we stay in New York.
Wait, Malik,
I didn't say that. I said about skin
Malik.
color.
Hold on. Malik, I have one question for you. What is today's mathematics?
What is today's what?
What's today's mathematics?
Today's mathematics?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Is this like a joke or something?
Damn, niggas don't. How
Open
you
up
start
your
that open, but you don't know? That's crazy. You supposed to be a 5%er. You just don't know yet.
Malik, bro.
Y'all niggas
sound
want
crazy.
y'all niggas
You
want to
be
be
sounding
everything. Y'all
crazy.
niggas want to be spaceship niggas, under the water niggas, everything, but just acknowledging that this shit is no fucking esoteric knowledge.
Malik.
If you look up-
we ain't trying to be
No. Everybody be quiet, because I'm serious. Malik, a lot of shit that you're learning and you're processing, either you're not processing correct or you're learning bullshit. And
What's
I'm telling you
more
that
bullshit? Let's
a
talk
lot
about
of
it. What's
this
more
shit that
bullshit?
you're learning and you're saying it's bullshit.
Is it
I
more
don't want.
bullshit
We don't
to
have
say-
to.
Let's talk about it. Is it more
You're
bullshit
basing
to
things
say
off like, all right,
that-
you don't want to
Wait a
believe
minute.
this because the white man did this and that.
We're
That's
not talking
Hotep
about none
shit,
of that.
my
We're
nigga.
talking about. We're just
doing
talking about
that.
common sense.
I'm just
Let's
trying
talk
to say,
about
because
common
niggas will get on these little cult fucking YouTube
It
videos
ain't
and
no
they'll
cult
cheat you and you
YouTube.
start.
Okay, you want to
That's
see one of my books?
bullshit, nigga.
You want to
Nigga,
see one of
that's
my books?
bullshit.
Because
I don't
a lot
care
of
about
niggas
the books.
don't
The books,
understand that you
yo,
can actually read a book.
things in books can be bullshit too. Just because somebody
Oh my
writes it
God.
down, that doesn't mean
So
it's
where
facts,
did you
my
get
nigga.
your information from that wasn't bullshit? Let's where'd you get this evolution of a Pangea? And if a nigga go from New York and stay in New York all his life, he turns a couple shades lighter, and somehow for y'all, that's
So
what,
wait,
evolution?
hold
Is
on,
that
Malik.
evolution?
Hold on, wait. But just
Bro.
before you go,
You ain't
I don't want.
explained
I just
that
want.
where
I
the
would like to
fucking
argue
anybody
just for
relation
Justice
comes
point
from.
because I refuse to argue evolution with you because
Y'all
you
not
are a lost
explaining it.
cause.
Y'all not explaining
Malik,
it.
no, but you were a lost cause, truly and honestly. But what I
I'm
want
a
to say is
lost
that
cause
no one was
because
saying
you
that.
can't
All right, if
explain
you stay,
evolution.
Malik, shut up. What no one was saying was that if you stay in New York for a generation, that you magically become lighter. I think the argument that people were saying in generations, you assimilate to where you are from.
So that makes you what? What
That
does it
is
turn you
all that people are saying.
What
That
does
is
it turn
literally
you into? How do you get if you're black?
if I am black.
And through as however long
And I
you
keep
live,
and I if I am black, right? And
However
for
long you
generations, I am a light-skinned black woman, and
You're
I
black,
continuously to intermarry with white people or people who
if
are
you
as
mix
light-skinned
your-
as
if you
me.
mix your breed with something
Or if I
else,
keep hold on, shut up. If I keep intermarrying with people lighter than me or people my complexion or lighter, what happens?
are they black or are they not black? That's the question.
What happens? Phenotypically,
If
they can
they're
stop being black.
If they're black,
Phenotypically, all right. So Malik,
Oh my God.
let's argue, right? I have cousins who have blue eyes and blonde hair, but they're black.
what y'all not understanding,
Two parents
is
are black,
that
so are
black
they not
people-
black to you?
what y'all not understanding is that black people, we have created every shade, every color out there. What y'all
So
keep
then,
confusing
what is your
is-
argument with
what
white
y'all keep
people?
confusing
If you
is-
can created
that
every
y'all
shade,
saying
then what
that-
is your argument with white people in
Where
evolution?
Raya, I'm trying to tell
Yo,
you,
the
which
math
is where
don't
Raya is
math.
confused. Raya is confused.
My name is
because she
not Reyes.
believes-
Whoever the fuck you're talking to is another girl. My name is
Raya
Rhea.
Luther? Who is
Respect
that?
me. My name is Rhea. I
Rhea.
don't know who Rhea is.
Well,
That's another
Rhea
bitch.
is saying is not answering the question. Just because if you intermingle with non-black,
So if
you're
black
gonna
people
get a
created all
non-black product.
black people
eventually.
created all the shades, and then you are attributing to why white people are whiter.
This is
and
where
towards-
you're not
moving away from
listening
the
to me.
equator.
You're not
You
listening
just
to me. You're
said
not listening
that
to me.
black people. Hold on. Malik, shut up. Mo and Justin, did he not just say that black people attribute to all the shades?
Yes.
You're not gonna
So
let me
black
explain it?
people, hold on.
Are you
Shut
gonna
up,
let me
Malik.
explain it?
So Malik, shut up.
Are you
If
gonna let
black
me
people,
explain it?
no, I don't. I don't want you to explain. So if
You
black
don't
people
want to let me
contribute to all,
explain it, so you just want
I
to jump
don't
on
want
something
you to talk
heated.
right now. I would truly like to talk to Justin and Mo. So Justin and Mo, if black people contribute to all of the shades, right? Does that mean that we could go from the whitest of white to the darkest of dark?
Yes.
Does that mean that black people are the reason to which we have shades due to what you could say is adaptation or evolution?
So we adapted to some Chinese fucking
Okay,
yellow people.
so
You're
great.
so fucking crazy.
That's all I
Y'all
want to
crazy.
hear. I'm gonna
Y'all
mute
crazy.
myself.
So
and
once
now
again, let me
Malik
explain
can live
what
on his
Rhea
phone.
fed. Or I'm sorry, I didn't
Who
mean to mispronounce
is
your name.
Raya? You
But
talking
that,
to
but
me?
that,
I didn't
but that,
mean
but
that.
that, look, but that goes back to
But
my
this goes
point.
back to what I'm
But
saying.
no,
You're
because you're
trying to
not.
say that you
Because you're.
adapt to what?
I have
Chinese?
an answer. I have an answer for all the things that you're stating. So the first humans were in Africa, right? So if you want to talk about a different region of people or where they spawned, if you talk about Neanderthals, there's over 100 different species of beings, right? So they can be Neanderthal. No, and I can't even speak now. Neanderthals.
So,
They can be from the fucking Caucasus Mountains, like you want to say, right?
That's a lie. They're not from the Caucasus Mountains. They're not from the Caucasus
But
Mountains.
I know that. I'm just
no.
saying that.
We're going to explain that. They're not from the Caucasus Mountains because we had civilization behind the fucking Caucasus Mountains. If you want to trace where they came from, you have to go up there and fucking.
So where did white people come from?
In the Uralian Mountains. That's further north. Y'all niggas ain't studying geography. If you study geography, you would know what the fuck that I'm talking about. Y'all not understand what I'm talking about.
So who was in the Caucasus Mountains?
The Caucasus Mountains are in northern Africa for real. It's really a little bit northern Africa. And for y'all to not know that we've been all around this motherfucker before anybody else, y'all not explaining how we're here first, and then all of a sudden we getting all these different species y'all niggas is talking about. Where did they come from? If we spawn here first, where did all
so white people are different species?
Answer the question. If J. Bobby said we came here first, if we came here first and we're Africans, how do you develop other species if we're here first? How the fuck?
Microorganisms.
Ayo.
On,
I'm not gonna hold you.
That
we
deserves,
we came here first, and I keep thinking about Ray J. I hit him first.
You know, we came from microorganisms, right?
That deserves a serious thought on how serious you're not taking this conversation. You're just saying
we came from microorganisms, right?
If black people were here first, and you're saying that other people developed from microorganisms, then what did we develop from?
Microorganisms.
So you're saying that microorganisms developed a whole new kind of person that wasn't African. So that means right then and there that we're not the same.
Possibly.
So we're not the same. So we're not. So my whole point was true.
So
y'all don't believe that we're the same as everybody else.
Malik,
no, I'm saying to
where do you come from? To you.
You said what?
Where do we start from to you?
I just told you where we started from. If you're a melanated person, melanin is scientifically a physical manifestation of the sun.
So we all start from the sun.
Melanated black people's DNA is more closely related to plants than any other thing on the planet. Why? Is because
a microorganism is a plant.
Let him finish that point.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Because plants and black people are made of the same thing, and that's melanin. So if you ask yourself,
what?
Look it up. But y'all want nigga science like, oh, if I live in New York,
keep explaining that point. Keep explaining that point. I want to hear this through. Keep explaining that point. So we're related to plants.
Melanin tells you that you're a physical manifestation of the sun. You live in a solar system. The melanin is that representation. So anything without melanin is unnatural to the planet. So if we're a natural species to this planet because of our melanin, the people that are not melanin are not from the same source we're from.
So you said melanin is a direct reflection of the sun, right?
Study electromagnetic waves and how they
act. Said melanin is a direct.
If you don't study that, then you not.
You said melanin is a direct reflection of the sun, correct?
Melanin is a direct reflection of the concentration of what electromagnetic waves that come from the sun give as a physical manifestation.
So therefore, people in warmer climates have more melanin compared to people that do not. That is basically what you're saying, nigga.
No,
that's exactly what you just
That's
said.
not true. That's not true because that's not true. That's not true.
Yo,
look at this. Look at it.
Yourself.
Where are you from? Where were you born? Where were you born, Justin Bobby? Where were you born?
In New York.
New York. Now you have melanin, right?
Yes.
Is New York anywhere close to the fucking equator? Fuck no, it's not.
I mean, also to be fair,
as dark as you are with melanin, and you're not even from the equator side.
But
to be fair,
hold on, wait, hold on, wait, before you go, Justin, Bobby, I just want to ask you some questions. Are your parents from the U.S.?
My mom is.
Okay, so your dad is from where?
He's from Barbados.
Where's your mom from?
She's from New York.
She's from New York. Are her like when you go back into her family? Is she part of the Great Migration or no?
Well, kinda, because my grandfather is from Florida and my grandmother is from North Carolina, kinda.
So I would like to say from that information, your family is a part of the Great Migration that ended up with a lot of Black African American people moving to New York for the sake of freedom, right? And then you have a father who's from Barbados.
Well,
So that would
let me
contribute to your skin
can I answer your question even more, right? Let's just have a conversation between us, Rhea, right? My dad is very Black, right?
Okay.
And my mom, she's lighter than me, right?
Is she
and
my
my grand yeah, basically.
Okay.
My grandfather is light skinned, right?
Okay.
So his name is Robinson. Cool. My dad is very, very Black, and my mom is about your color. So that brings this, right?
Okay.
Now,
fine Black man.
So Malik thinks that. Thank you. Malik thinks that if I go to Germany, in my theory, that I will just turn white and pale. That is not what I'm saying.
And I think the argument that we're both trying to say is Malik, this is a conversation between Rhea and Justin.
But he said Malik thinks this, and that's
but
not true.
I having a conversation between Malik and Rhea.
Okay,
not Malik and Rhea, Justin and Rhea.
It becomes a three-way conversation. That's what happens.
This is not a three-way. We are before three-way.
Wait, I'm gonna let you end it, Malik. I'm gonna let you end it. Right,
yeah, what are you talking about?
Go ahead, Rhea.
No, I'm having a conversation with you. I'm trying to have a meaningful dialogue with you. So are you trying to say that Malik believes that if you were to move to Germany with your current genetics, that you would seemingly turn white based on the theory that we are saying? Is that what you're saying that Malik is saying?
That's what he's saying that I'm saying.
That's what he's saying that you're saying. Malik, no, Malik, I want a very concise answer from you. Are you saying if Justin Bobby were to move with his current genetics to Germany, that his next offspring would be lighter? Is that what you were saying?
No.
Okay. So if that's not what he's saying, then I think we are misunderstanding him. But however, I think the way that Justin and I would like to assume Mo is also agreeing with us, that what we are saying is that evolution happens in generations, right? Like generationally, things change. You adapt to the environment that you're in. Like it's the same bullshit that people say, like people from New York are more adapted to the cold than people from LA because we experience it more versus people who are born and raised in somewhere hot. Yeah, like experiencing four seasons.
Y'all niggas is talking about temperature. Y'all realize that? Y'all talking about
Malik, is anyone talking to you? Was Malik? Was this not a B, and C conversation? No. So
I was discussing temperature like it's determining race. What the fuck?
I'm not.
No one determining race. We're talking about adaptation. Adaptation to the area is what we're talking about.
Well, to be fair, there's people that are pale as fuck and they're Black, right?
Yes,
there's albino Black people.
I know that. I acknowledge that.
Okay.
But those pale Black people are not white. That's what I'm trying to let y'all understand.
So do you think albino Black people are white?
Albino Black people are not white. Albino Black people are albino Black people. What you mean? They're Black people.
I'm scared.
Because
I'm
you know why?
I believe that, but I'm curious on your.
You know why albino Black people are still Black is because of what? Their Black features. What are you
because
talking
about?
My point is if civilization started in Africa, right, and white people aren't Black, that would mean that they come from a different thing.
That's it.
Yeah, but you argue with me that they can't spawn from something else.
We just said right here that if an albino person that's Black, he's still Black. So if that's the case, and we make all type of shades and they're still Black, how do you get a white person or a Chinese person or any of that? How? Y'all not explaining that.
I'm just trying to explain.
How do you add that to a Chinese person? How does an African person
to you?
Have you not seen African people with Chinese quote-unquote features?
How does an African transform into a Chinese man through adaptation?
So do you think that over time
No, I don't think.
I'm asking you I'm responding to you.
You asking a question to a question?
I'm responding to you if you could take a second and listen without responding.
If you ask me a question, I have to respond.
Do you not believe?
That's a question. You're not responding. You ask me a question.
And I'm responding.
You can't give a question to a question. J Bobby, you know that.
Have you heard yourself talk this whole time?
How you gonna ask me a question if I propose the question?
What I'm
Answer
trying,
the question.
what I'm trying to
Yeah,
argue.
bro.
If
I can't do this
God.
no more,
Your
bro.
response can't be a question. Your response would have to be something that you heard.
So how y'all feel about the Knickerbockers?
Listen, we got 2 minutes left.
Just answer the question. How
No, I
do you
don't
go
wanna-
from
the
African to
conversation's over.
Chinese?
No,
How?
Malik,
Justin Bobby,
you know,
you're a sex symbol. Mo,
How does
you're also
somebody
a
go
sex
from an
symbol.
African to a
Malik is gonna be
Chinese man when a
polygamous.
Chinese man wasn't here first? So what did the African do?
but
to
yo,
get
here's
Chinese?
Rhea, I love you.
No, here's the
I love
thing
you
about-
too.
Rhea,
Like, you're just a great person, Mo.
Malik, here's the thing about all this.
That's a real
About
question.
all this
The whole
shit.
Mo was sleep tight on this
No,
one.
really, because we
How
got
does an African go to a Chinese
Yo,
man
Malik,
when a
Malik,
Chinese man wasn't here first?
we got off topic, but it's like about all this past. Who gives a fuck?
It 100%. No. This 100% matters because when we talk about what's happening today, it's about
My
preservation.
coochie is dry.
It doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter.
Y'all sleep at night
Doesn't
thinking
matter.
that somehow an African turned to a Chinese man through adaptation.
I'm not
of
saying that, but
I
I'm
truly
just,
sit at night thinking.
How does that
great
happen?
things.
How does
But
that
I'm
happen?
just saying
How does
all
that
the
How does the
pyramids and
Pangea explain an African turning into a Chinese man? How?
ancient civilization, all that shit right now, like that's cool. Like I get it. Like I like that shit too. I like learning about it, but that shit don't matter. It don't matter. For
Can you
us, it
please
does
chop
not
this
matter.
in- When you chop it up, say
Like
how
I,
can
you know what
an
black,
African-
no, I'm gonna keep it a stack. You know what black people like you think? They think if we come to this great fucking it's like this, we figure out that the black people were the ones that built the pyramid, and we confirm it, and we 100% have all the facts that's gonna change the way white people operate and how people see the world.
No.
It's not.
But Malik,
We don't
have you ever
move
been to
based
the
on what.
continent?
We're not trying to learn nothing. We're not trying to be no
Malik,
book
you've
niggas
never been to the
learn
continent.
to change somebody else's perception. This is not for white people to be like, oh, they
But
know
I'm
anything.
saying, but that's what I'm saying. That shit is irrelevant, bro, because that doesn't affect anything that we're doing today. It matters
not
what's
true.
happening
That's
today.
not true.
The
You
past,
got niggas-
Malik,
the
have
past,
you ever been to the
the past.
continent?
Wait. The past affects the future. Cool, I get that. But at the same time, what's currently today, you cannot base things from the past to today because you have to go on what you're living in today. You have to experience life as now. You have to.
You saying that means you experiencing life from what people are giving you. You're not experiencing your
nigga, I'm
culture.
experiencing
Right?
what's
You're
in front
not
of me.
living in your own culture. So if you're not living in your own culture, what are you
Have
talking about?
you gone to the Have you gone to the continent, Malik?
What does that have to do with what we living in today? I'm still
That's
J
not.
Bobby
I just would
point.
like an answer. I just want an
I
answer.
have not been. I have not been. You
You've
asked me
never gone to
earlier.
Africa. You've never gone to any
You
country in
already asked
Africa.
me this. You have already asked
You
me
never
this.
answered me when I asked you prior. So I want to just know for sure
No, I
on the
ain't been to
record.
Tanzania. No, I ain't been to Africa. You keep saying you should go. You should go.
Never
you should
been to
go. I get all
Africa.
that. I want
Great.
to. I want to
That's all I wanna
stand
know.
on what J Bobby's talking about. J Bobby's talking about that somehow by knowing your history, it doesn't change what's going on today, and that's very false. Because a lot of why it won't change, especially what's happening now, is because niggas don't know their own history. So they stuck living in what they seem like history of yesterday is, and saying that, oh, this is how we're supposed to go, this is how we're supposed to be, this is how we're supposed to move. If you don't know where you fucking came from, you'll never know how to progress out of what you put in. So to say it doesn't matter is not true.
That's not true.
What do you mean it doesn't? So what are you basing your way of not living in what you're going through today if you don't know what you was at the peak? You're talking about the peak of our existence on this planet. That's where we was living at. We had an actual golden age. Y'all niggas only know what happened yesterday.
Who gives a
and you're
fuck?
saying
My
that
nigga,
nothing that
it's
happened before matters.
2021. It's 2021.
Okay, so how are
You're not
basing
helping
how to
people
move
be
forward if you're
hoteps.
basing off of today?
Hoteps is not helping the community.
Nobody talking about no hoteps. Hoteps believe in a whole nother other thing. They believe.
Nigga, you're a hotep.
I'm not
What?
no hotep.
No,
It's
bro,
common sense. I don't believe in no hotep shit. I'm telling you that saying that you somehow are gonna find some foundation that can propel you forward in today's career without knowing the history of what we actually were doing. That don't make no sense.
You know what's crazy? I started to learn a lot of shit that you were learning like a few years ago, and
I'm not learning that you feel like that.
And I realized that a lot of that shit is bullshit.
What's bullshit?
Listen,
What's bullshit?
Because niggas will do things in favor of their agenda just because they want to be like.
This is like very self-serving.
Yes, it preys on people because they don't have anywhere to
tell
go.
me what's
Niggas do
the
that.
self-serving?
But yo,
thing?
Malik, It's been a fun
We all
conversation.
agree
man.
that people started in Africa. That's not self-serving. That's science.
Listen,
That's
it's been
what
a
white
fun
people say.
conversation.
All right, Malik, respectfully, I'm trying to make my polygamous family, and you're talking past my polygamous family. I want to fuck some nigga right now at this point. You are talking in fucking circles.
That's not a circle.
Literally,
Y'all
you are
throwing it in
literally
because y'all saying,
not-
"Oh,
no,
blanket statement. Oh,
Malik.
you're just
What I want you to
crazy
do,
whole church shit.
Malik.
Oh, the shit you
Malik
believe,
Zaire.
this
What I want you
What
to
is it?
do at the end of this whole thing, if you could do me one thing, if you could do one thing, because you supposedly love black women, if you could love this black woman right here, who you don't know, you mispronounced her name the whole time. If you could listen back to this podcast and hear how you spoke in literal track circles, you would make my motherfucking day. However, I would like to get penis. I would like to go home to my black king and have a great time with my black king. And you speaking in circles and talking about shit that don't even mean shit.
Tim Duncan,
Making
Justin.
making us all fucking mad. And the Lakers
crazy.
fucking
It's
won.
crazy.
So truly and honestly, I'm having a
Yo,
great
we about to get
fucking
some
time.
We about to get some buffs.
That's a fact. Damn, my buffs are in. My buffs are getting clean. But if my buffs were not getting cleaned, I would put them on right now. But I love y'all niggas. Y'all niggas are great people. Aside from Malik, Malik gets on my fucking nerves.
Tim
But
Duncan.
Malik, I would like to say that you are a great black man, and I truly hope that you find a woman who believes in your polygamous lifestyle and understands the way that you are coming from. I'm also very grateful that you have a tiny black person who is in the world and that you grow them with a proper and adequate education to survive in this world.
Listen, man. Listen, yo, Hollis, stay white, y'all.
These hotel niggas can't be trusted.
Please get the money, baby.